Welcome, fair viewers of the esteemed podcast, Half a Clue Movie Review, a dignified space where four gentlemen articulate their critical views on various film-based media with a pose and fastidious manner. The name of your blessed host is Sir Blake, and I am joined by...
Sir Ron.
Sir Philippe.
And I'm Jason.
Sir Jason. And Miles, you can introduce yourself
The court
too.
jester Miles in the background.
Yeah, you're basically a court jester. You could say that you could say that we've gathered today in a round table to discuss this.
This is rectangular.
Yeah, this is not.
You could say that
round.
we've joined a round table to discuss this.
You could say that, sure.
On this week's
You'd be wrong.
podcast, you get the sentiment of what
On
I'm
this
going
week's
for.
podcast.
On this week's podcast, we will be discussing the various ways Arthurian lore has been portrayed and incorporated in various films, from John Boorman's Excalibur to Guy Ritchie's King Arthur: Legend of the Sword, and of course the much anticipated David Lowery film The Green Knight.
Yay.
I gotta be honest, I think we all put a lot into this one.
Yes.
If I have to hear about Arthurian lore maybe ever again, I'll probably lose my fucking mind.
I think together we've all formed a doctorate of,
yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna send us our PhDs in the mail pretty soon. But I gotta say, I've been reading a lot. We obviously all read Sir Gawain and The Green Knight. We all watched several King Arthur shit. I know we all did our own research, but I gotta say, the one thing that has puzzled me the most is why people fucking like Excalibur. So I guess,
All right, let's get into the synopsis. So the first one we're covering is Excalibur 1981. What's it called? It's a John Boorman buffet of a film.
Excelsior.
It's a sprawling adaptation of Sir Christopher Mallory's Le Morte d'Arthur. Excalibur covers the entire tale of the wielders of the famed magical sword Excalibur, Uther Pendragon and Arthur Pendragon. After Uther's failure to maintain his kingdom, the sorcerer Merlin ensures that Excalibur finds his way to Arthur's hands and guides him to become the king that he was destined to be. As Arthur fulfills his destiny, he gathers the Knights of the Round Table at Camelot, unites the country. However, the path he followed has been riddled by familial conflicts, betrayal of love and friendship, and
so
mystical
riddled.
quests of grand proportion, testing both the nation's survival and our flawed king. If you guys wondering why the synopsis is so long, it's
Because it covers fucking everything.
It's a very...
everything.
there was
long.
a certain point while watching this movie that I went, oh, so they really are just fucking getting it all out of the way.
Yeah,
aren't
it's
they?
doing everything.
Like every little story you've heard about King Arthur is in this motherfucking movie.
All right.
And I'm sorry.
All right, so
It's boring as fuck.
It's like that's the final ratings for it. Hold yourself. All right, so brief background on this film. It's directed by John Boorman, who was Point Blank, Deliverance, and Hope and Glory fame. What's it called? Accomplished director of his own right.
Yeah, old
Fuck
Johnny
yeah.
B.
What's it called? And also produced by him, and also written by him. What's it called? Cinematographer Alex Thompson. Music by Trevor Jones. And what's it called? This was all basically what happened is he wanted to make Lord of the Rings.
Thank God he didn't do that.
Yeah.
Thank fucking God.
But it fell through, whether it was financing or he wasn't able to get rights for various other different reasons. But all the preps of Lord of the Rings, he went to make Excalibur, the film he wanted to make in the first place. And the film has been noticed for its importance to the Irish film industry and launching the careers of many of his cast members. And it's a very personal project to him. A lot of his wife plays Igraine. And his kids are like Lady of the Lake and other different versions of the characters, young and old. And he even did this, and he directed one of the worst movies ever made, Exorcist II: The Heretic, just to fund it. Yeah, just like so. This is his passion project for sure. And as you can tell, there was a lot in this film, probably because he didn't know if there's gonna be a sequel, so he just like poured everything into one thing.
Well, why not just...
Which is a poor way to make a movie.
Why not just try really hard to make one of the elements into a full movie and make that really good?
Because John Boorman doesn't do that. He's all or nothing, baby.
Really all or nothing.
So what is everyone's familiarity with King Arthur, Arthurian lore, and Sir Christopher Mallory's Le Morte d'Arthur, one of the texts most Arthurian adaptations.
Also, I just want to say, you got one thing wrong in that.
Oh, which one?
Katrine Boorman is his daughter, not his wife. Which makes that scene so much worse.
Wait, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Wait. what's it called? You're talking about the person who plays Igraine, right?
Yeah, the woman that was raped by Uther in the beginning.
What a way to
What's it
start
called?
things
Are you
off,
sure
huh?
about that?
I'm positive.
We'll
let me
get to
look
that
this up.
scene because I have.
Which,
a lot to
but it
say.
makes it so much more creepy.
His wife or his daughter. That's still really creepy. I'll start off by saying, like, when it comes to like Arthurian lore and just Arthurian stories in general, I've always like had like a strong fascination for like fantasy, medieval, like kind of storytelling, like swords and shit. Like that's just I've always been really into it. It probably goes back to like Lord of the Rings, but like I don't know. So I've always been like fascinated by it. I've always liked to watch like Arthur movies, like probably like Clive Owen's King Arthur. I remember that was a guilty pleasure growing up. But besides that, and like maybe Disney's Sword in the Stone, that was kind of really the basis for most of my Arthurian knowledge. But yeah, so it's like Excalibur. I feel like I should have enjoyed it more than I did.
Yeah.
But isn't it interesting? It was.
You were right about that. I apologize, Captain Morgan.
Stupid,
That's super.
dumb,
That is
idiot.
super.
Weird.
That makes it even more awkward.
Yeah, it is really
We'll
weird.
get to that scene because I have a lot to say. My familiarity prior to 2 weeks ago, because now I feel like Harvard's just, sending off my PhD. Prior to 2 weeks ago, my Arthurian knowledge was Sword in the Stone, the Disney movie. So not very much at all, to be honest.
Yeah, I really knew nothing. I guess I watched the Clive Owen one in 2004, but after Lord of the Rings, I just thought that movie sucked. I feel like a lot of movies tried to capitalize off of Lord of the Rings in that time, and there was a plethora of fantasy films that came out after, and they all fucking sucked, and that was one of them. So that kind of just turned me off of King Arthur in general.
Well,
And up until this point, I've watched 3 this week that we're all going to talk about, and I think I only like one of them. So, hey, pot.
we have a lot
One's
to say.
a guilty pleasure, and one I genuinely like.
I was gonna say, if I can butt in really quick, I think part of the reason you don't watch King Arthur movies though is whenever you see like a movie get released that's based on like a public domain property, it's usually really sterile, boring, and by the numbers. I will say this: the 3 movies we're gonna talk about are not that. All 3 are very weird.
We'll get into like Guy Ritchie, but like his he's it's his second public domain thing.
Yeah,
because
because he did Sherlock.
He did Sherlock Holmes, which I don't know. We're not talking about that right now, but I actually liked both of those movies.
I saw
His
the first
style
one, and I
works
liked
for
it.
that sort of story, though.
Yeah, I think so, and it's very different.
I disagree with
I'll
her.
say with King Arthur, but yeah.
I disagree that his style works for.
Well, let's get to Guy. Let's get to Guy Ritchie when we get to Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, let's focus on Excalibur for right now.
Oh, yeah.
And man, I don't know, the movie just.
Let's get into just like how it starts off, right? So it starts off with Uther Pendragon, right? Played by the wonderful Gabriel Byrne of Usual Suspects fame and In Treatment of HBO. And with this amazing, I just want to have one night with her.
Yeah.
It's it's fantastic.
So it opens with rape.
It does. Certainly does.
And I was gonna ask, was this intended to be rape, or is this just aged very poorly, and to us we can identify it as rape? Because what happens is Merlin makes him appear to be another person, so he has sex with what was the woman's name? Igraine, under the guise that he is someone else, and because of that, Arthur is born, making Arthur a rape baby. Is this just aged
Don't
really?
say that.
That's what the fuck happens though.
I would say that it's not that necessarily that it's aged poorly. It's a lot of those old folk and like fairy tales and like Greek myths and stuff. They have things like that. Like the Greek gods do a lot of raping, and they turn into people and animals and stuff. And it's just like it's different. I would say not it's just like
it's definitely sexual assault.
Yeah, it is definitely sexual assault. It's rape.
It's definitely rape.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I don't think that's in question, but I would say that it's. I
Oh
think
man,
that was the intention, and Uther is not portrayed.
Yeah, no, he's
all.
portrayed as like a piece of shit, and
Yeah.
also he an idiot. He basically fucks up everything because he wants to fuck a girl really bad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because like it starts off with like basically him with Merlin's help, Dragon's Breath or whatever. He wins the war somewhat, and he has Excalibur, and he's makes peace with it. And that was the whole deal with Merlin. Merlin's like, I help you, you help crate piece. Uther's like, okay, sure, and he does that until he sees the wife, and he's like, I just want her,
Dude. He's literally watching her like dance. And he just screams in agony because of how much he wants to fuck her. And it's just like, bro, you're in public. Relax.
Yeah.
He literally lets his kingdom fall apart because he's horny.
yeah, it is, yeah. And it was hilarious. I had so much fun watching that. Miles, did you enjoy that? You know, everything come down to, you know, basically.
We watched this movie because of Miles.
Yeah,
by
Miles
the way.
made us watch this.
I'm gonna reserve my opinion until the end, and then you'll kind of see how I feel about it. I think Miles might be anticipating this. Yeah, what's it called?
Personally, I really enjoy this movie. Maybe it's the nostalgia factor of it.
I'm sure
because
that must play a part.
Yeah, because
It has to.
know. But you know, I can see what you guys do mean by it has problems, but I'm not going to talk much more on it because, yeah.
Well, I'll say that like I try to give some of the movie the benefit of the doubt. It makes me like I understand they had a low budget and they're really trying to pack in a lot. And there's certain parts of the cheesiness that like I think works perfectly fine with like, you know, the kind of movie that it's trying to be, you know. But there are other issues like just like I understand like even the who plays Uther again? Gabriel Byrne. I think he really got the tone and kind of like the feel for the movie like perfectly. Mm-hmm. He was like perfectly cast there. Like I would have preferred he actually played Arthur, really, because the guy who actually plays Arthur fucking sucks. Nigel Terry, dude, he's
his
awful.
hair is hilarious.
Yeah, it's like I think Gabriel Bryan had that perfect of like, you know, that large kind of stage presence, and it's not overacting. It's just like it's like I don't know,
Bombastic.
Yeah, and it worked very well. He struck the tone, I think, just right for it. But most of all the other characters were completely miscast. Like Merlin, for example. Like it's like
His helmet is so stupid looking.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
it looked
I know.
ridiculous. Was that a helmet or was that just his fucking head? Like,
Let's get into it. Okay, so after you know, basically he ruins the entire you know, his treaty for sex. He gets what he wants. He basically forces Merlin to release the dragon's breath, which is basically a giant cloud, right?
Yeah.
And he goes in, disguises himself as, you know, Igraine's husband / lord, has sex with her, and you know, the deal was Merlin's like, I help you, but I get whatever results from this lust. Uther, being the dumbass he is, he's just like, oh, I don't know what that is.
yeah,
I don't know
what
that
could
could
possibly come from this.
Yeah, and he just says, yeah, just anything for sex.
Didn't he learn
Anything
from
so
old?
Gucci.
It can happen even if you just do it once.
yeah.
Was it? So yeah, and that happened. I'll say that from that sequence, I was incredibly impressed with, because I know this film had like an $11 million budget. Even then, adjusted for inflation, probably like 40, 50 right now. It's impressive. I think like how they made this grand of a scale, like for that one shot, in order for him to portray him going to a castle.
Mhm.
What's it called? A lot of mist. They did like close up side profile of the face, and they just had like a basically this weird misty ethereal background as he's riding the horse.
Yeah,
And it's a good way to hide your budget while also making it feel rather magical and mystical. So that's that. Oh, sorry about that. I commend
That's one.
I commend John Borman and the cinematographer for, you know, working around their budget and doing something like that. And it looks cool as fuck. Yeah, and then after that, Uther dies because everyone just hates him for ruining the alliance.
yeah. That's where the movie really kind of like
Ends.
it gets a little tricky for me, where like there are certain aspects of it that I do respect, and I do like there are certain things that, like, you know, I get it. He kind of really swung for the fences in this, you know, and it really shows like he really tried to do as much as he could. So that's like, I think, you know, commendable. And there's certain visuals and stuff that I really dug.
Yeah, it looks good. Like, it was
Yeah.
nominated for best cinematography.
Yeah,
so,
it looks better than it should, really.
yeah.
I mean, there's certain aspects of like
The choreography, though.
Oh my god.
yeah, bad choreography.
Oh my god.
And-
Lancelot's fight. Oh.
A lot of the costumes did
The
not
costume
hold
design
up.
is terrible.
Yeah, like especially in Uther's like style, like when they're all like the knights and everything, they look like shit. Like a lot of the armor.
That's
look
when they
like
have like
shit.
the rhino things, right?
And the
They have, like,
sound
yeah.
design,
guns.
the sound of the armor like clinking and clanking, it sounded like a kid playing with like plastic toys. Like it was not consistent at all. And also like it seems like most of the movie was like ADR'd.
Yeah,
And,
it did.
yeah,
It
it
did.
was.
and like
Yeah.
I was watching with headphones and I could hear the room noise like when they would speak and then they'd cut it off. And it was so fucking distracting in a movie that I already hated. Like it just kept piling on. By the end of it, I was fucking seething.
Yeah, why
Like,
was-
I
why was
hated
this ADR'd?
movie.
Most likely because maybe they're because inconsistent accents, or they just due to the nature of the film they just couldn't, or the budget of the film, maybe they just couldn't hire an audio guy on set.
I
There,
imagine
there
that.
are parts where it's real bad too.
I imagine that their armor was probably like a huge factor.
Yeah.
With like that's probably
Oh,
loud
yeah.
as fuck,
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
walk around and really clanky and probably not very well made armor.
Yeah, there was shit just hanging off of him. Like there was just shit hanging off the armor.
How
It
did no one
wasn't.
get killed on set?
It
by
wasn't
accident?
until like Sir Lancelot showed up that I was like, oh, that looks
That was
like
a good set of armor.
Yeah, I was like, that
Yeah.
looks like the best set of armor. And I understand he's Lancelot. He's supposed to look like it. And I'm like, so good job there. And then later they kind of all upgrade their armor and it looks better.
Dude,
And I was
Lancelot
like,
and King
okay.
Arthur's fight is so hilarious.
It was
though.
laughable, really. I was
yeah.
like, man.
Ah!
I was like, Lancelot's supposed to be like the baddest kind of motherfucker. And he really just came off as just, I don't know, their fight was just kind of goofy.
Their
Yeah.
jousting scene was so
Like I couldn't
funny.
tell if it was like being played for laughs or
No, I think it was
like
supposed
if
to
it
be
was
like a
serious.
badass.
Yeah, it's so serious at the time.
Well, I was laughing.
Well, okay,
so-
sure,
was on
Miles, you
1980s.
watched this as a kid. When the first time you saw Lancelot and King Arthur's fight, was this like the most badass thing you'd seen?
Probably.
Yeah,
It's-
see,
it's hard
I
to
bet.
say.
it's also like
I mean-
1980s, right?
So I will say,
81.
there's
81, yeah.
there's a difference between bad choreography and bad training for the choreography. And I think that the choreography was good. I just don't know if the training for the choreography was good.
None of these
Well,
people
I
have
think-
ever picked up a sword before.
like
in their
that
lives.
was the problem, I think.
I think
is
that's
that-
the same thing, though. Because if it's like, if you're not trained properly, then that's just bad choreography.
Well, yes, but I think that it was well intentioned and it was at least planned out decently. It's just they didn't really train the actors and they didn't have stunt doubles
See, I would
doing
say
a lot of the stuff. So
I would give the argument that it was 1981 or that the choreography wasn't very good because it's older. The Princess Bride came out in 1987, and that has fantastic sword
Absolutely.
choreography.
Yeah.
What's his name? The guy, Errol Flynn, classic, sword and actor and everything, played Robin Hood.
Wait,
and,
but
like,
those
whatever.
are swashbuckling films. Whole different genre. though.
I know it's,
Yeah.
but in that
they
sense,
they
the
had the
choreography-
ability to make it.
And also,
Yeah,
to be fair,
it's
actual
there.
like I'm not saying this is like 100% accurate,
Uh.
but actual sword choreography of that time, they were just hacking away too.
Yeah,
no,
but
no,
you
no,
can-
no, no.
but-
I am
it was,
out of
I mean, it was
shape.
better.
I am out of shape. I got a bum leg and a bad wrist. You give me a sword, I will kill any one of the motherfuckers in this movie in about 4 seconds.
Have you been in an armor and have weight accurate
Look,
sword?
look,
It's
look,
heavy
look.
as
They could
fuck.
have the armor.
Well, actually, most swords are
okay.
supposed to be like under 10 pounds.
if
Like,
they're trying to be
they're somewhat
accurate-
lighter because they're meant to be like wielded very.
I'll respect they're
quickly.
trying to be accurate, but you have to also have a line where you make it entertaining too. Like these are the lamest fucking sword fights ever shot on film.
Like,
They
I
look
would
like a
say-
bunch
No,
of
I- there-
bumbling
there's
idiots.
the
have you
worst.
watched? Okay, have you watched? There is a. This is really nerdy. There is like a Star Wars fan film made in like 2006, like Ryan versus like.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? It's like just two fucking nerds that like recorded themselves having a lightsaber fight. That looks better.
I would say, okay, this movie reminded me a lot, and it made me want to watch the Conan movies, the Arnold Schwarzenegger, which also came out in 1981. The choreography in that great. It's not amazing. It's not. But I would say it was better than this, and it was at least more exciting. Like, it was like...
I agree with that. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I mean, I also it's like through the lens that it's 1981.
yeah.
And they're somewhat trying to harken back to like actual hacking, and also 10 pounds is still like
Yeah.
having like katanas that could be like 1 or 2. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
so I don't hate it as much as you guys. I understand. I don't think it's good. I think it's bad, but I don't think it's the worst. I've seen worse. Like there's one with Scott Adkins and he's fighting against not Terry Crews, but Michael Jai White. and then when they like, it's like their blades just touch with the hair's kiss or pussy touch, and it just like it just as if there's this magnet repelling, and that one's really bad.
Okay, fact check really quick. A medieval broadsword is about 2.5 pounds to 3.5 pounds. So they're built to be very
so if it's
light.
like that, then that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
because they were so slow and they were like falling over. Like
They
it
really a lot of falling over.
And here's the thing: this wouldn't be an issue for me if the rest of the movie like had more emotional weight to it. It's the fact that I'm like,
Yeah,
wow, I'm watching these characters I don't give a fuck about poorly sword fight.
Yeah, like you know, A New Hope. You
Yeah.
watch Darth Vader and Obi-Wan
And it's
fight, and
hilarious.
it's awful. But
Yeah.
like
You
the
care
scene
about the
works
movies.
because you care about what's going on in that moment.
Well, I think for that
I didn't
one,
give a shit about this movie. Like
Yeah, me
anyone
neither.
in it.
I do. I forgot this guy's name. He was our friend, Kelvin's friend.
Who?
He's like this chubby Korean guy or whatever who's super.
Oh,
into,
Justin.
Yeah, Justin. Yeah, and he's
Hey, Justin.
Hi,
I was
Justin.
like, hey, Justin. And he's super into swordplay and everything like that. And he's taken whole courses on that. And he was like telling me how he was defending episode
sick.
4 and saying that's technically the most accurate in terms of like, like if it is based on samurai and shit.
Yeah, I understand that because like, and also Lucas made a point that initially for A New Hope, his
Documentary style.
idea was that the lightsabers were really heavy.
Yeah.
Like he wanted them to be like really fucking heavy because he got a lot of weight behind them, and so that's why they're not swinging them around too much. It wasn't until Empire Strikes Back where they were like, "That's stupid." Like, like these should be like.
And
they
then the
should
prequels hold.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Luke's kind of like casually swinging it around in the beginning.
Yeah, kind of.
that's-
Well, he always has two hands. That was like the big
True.
thing. He says you
Yeah.
always have to have it with two hands because it's too heavy to do one-handed. And then again later they were like,
Well, no, in the
"That's
first
stupid.
scene
That's
when he
really
hold it
holding
up,
us back."
The jump cut, that was one hand.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
When he's holding it one
Yeah,
hand.
but even then, he's not like spinning it fast or anything.
Well,
no,
the
that's
lightsabers
true.
barely come
Anyway,
out.
yeah, let's not
we're
focus
going-
on that.
We're going back.
Going back
This
to
is what
this
happens
thing.
when you go half a clue. We get into
Yeah. I do
I'd
want to
much
say.
rather talk about A New Hope.
All right, so let's get into Arthur's, his rise as a monarch, right? He's played by, somehow Nigel Terry, who not convincing as a teenager at all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And
His hair is so
Oh, I
hilarious.
guess I'm king now.
him and his fake brother Kay, they're jousting tournament. He loses Kay's sword. And he's like, I gotta find Kay a sword, and and somehow I don't know, since everyone else knows about the sword from Stone Myth. And then this is already after Merlin has taken Arthur and basically had Kay and his family adopt him and shit, and he just pulls the sword out of stone and he's like, oh brother, here's this.
And they're like, "What did you just
I'm like,
do?"
"Wait, how did you not know about it?
How come?
Right?
What I love about this is he's like, "Put it back," and so he puts it back, and then everyone comes around, like all the knights come over and
How
look,
come-
and then he pulls it out again so they can see. Like, why did that happen?
How come in all of these fucking movies, it always feels so anticlimactic when Arthur pulls the sword?
I feel like
always
it should be the
feels-
best
the
next
moment of the
one.
movie.
It always feels so anticlimactic. By the way, one other note on this scene, I love the fact that his like fake dad comes up and is like, "Oh, I only kept you because I was afraid of Merlin, but then I grew to love you." And it's just like they're talking like they're robots. Like there's no emotion in any of their voices.
I get that they were
Hence why
trying to
Zack
go
Snyder loves
for.
this film.
Yeah, oh fuck yeah. No, there you can see a lot of Snyder influences in this movie.
Too many characters,
Yeah.
too much plot.
Yeah, giant.
Not enough
story.
emotion.
Yeah, visually focused more on the visuals than substance really. But no, it's like I will argue that some of these movies do show great moments when he's pulling out the sword. Like we'll get to King Arthur, but also even Sword in the Stone has one of my favorite moments. I mean, that's the whole point of the movie really. Like when he pulls it out and there's it's like really dramatic.
I don't know. I feel
But
like
this one, no, very anticlimactic. I was
Well,
just like, oh, he just
it's not just
pulled
them,
it out,
a
man.
lot of them. It's always this sterile scene. It's like, isn't this supposed to be like the moment? This is like the moment where his destiny is like sealed. It should be this grand epic scene, but he kind of pulls it out, and his brother's like, "Oh, like."
No, I agree that this one they didn't what's it called? Highlight
Oh
that
shit! I'm a
importance.
king. Fuck.
And then
What's
Yeah.
it called?
That's
Then
kind of
he
his reaction.
immediately, yeah.
Yeah, and he even has his stat tendency. So after he pulls the sword, he fights his doubters, and he protects I think it was Lord Uranus or the guy what's his,
Patrick
I'm
Stewart?
sorry. No, it's Leo the Grants, right? And then Uranus is the guy he's trying to fight. That's like I said, there's a lot of characters in this. and then and instead of killing his daughters, he decides like just, hey, work for me instead. And immediately they were like, they were just trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
Like, 5 seconds later, I was like, you're my king. And I was like, oh, okay. And then immediately Guinevere has like the hot eyes for King Arthur, and King Arthur didn't understand the failures of his previous father, and was like, fuck yes, another hot chick to ruin my entire kingdom for.
Time to fuck.
And then he becomes a monarch really quickly. This is all within the first 30 minutes or so.
Yeah. Like, there is no setup to any of these characters. Arthur's on screen for about 3 minutes, and then he pulls the sword out. And that's just a bad way to set up your protagonist. Like, there was very little, like... We didn't get to know him at all.
Yeah,
I don't know this rendition of Arthur at all.
No.
His first scene is him doing the thing.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's like a proper film narrative usually has at least an inciting incident that starts off, the conflict and stuff like that. There's like, I think like 5 or 6 in this one. There's like first, and we'll get into the later ones. There's first Uther's lust for Igraine that incites, Arthur's birth. And then after that, there's the other inciting incident, which is him pulling the sword from stone.
Yeah.
And then after that, the other inciting incident. This is the third one. Yeah, so it's like Mordred, right? Like, and then the Holy Grail, or whatever Arthur's dying.
God,
it's
this
like,
movie's so long.
Yeah, it's essentially like 5 or 6 movies like packed into one. I mean, look, the original, the original Lamorth Arthur is like already super convoluted. Like it's like the original's like 5 or 6 Saxons, and then they just recently uncovered the Winchester chest, which is supposed to be more accurate. And it's like 3 acts. And it's like the one that I have is like small printed 687 pages, but regular print is like 1,200 plus.
Jesus.
And he's condensing that all into like a 2.5 hour film.
Yeah.
And
Don't do that.
So yeah, why not just make a good movie about one of the stories?
Yeah,
Or a TV show.
I think if anything,
Surprised he didn't do the Green Knight story in this too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give
Liam
him like
Neeson.
I'll give Guy Ritchie credit that he pretty much focused just on King Arthur's rise.
Yeah.
And it's like that should have been fine. Like even just have the little backstory of his father leading up to his rise and him like
Although that movie was
claiming
like
his-
6 movies too.
Yeah, it really does.
well, we're gonna
We'll
get
get to
into
that.
yeah.
Okay, so like let's get back to this. So like he becomes a monarch. He's recruiting his knights. Guy, like I said, and here I think they say Gawain, and then in the later ones they say Garwin.
Garwin,
And then and then I think the Brits say Gawain. It's depends on the region, but and they get the other characters.
Yeah, here in America we say Gawain.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, the Knights of the Round Table, you got, Gawain, Galahad, Bedivere, Tristan, Garan, Gareth. The list goes on.
Pretty great actors in there too. Liam Neeson, Patrick Stewart.
Yeah,
Like,
you got Ciarán
either of
Hinds.
those would have been better than Nigel Terry's King Arthur.
Yeah, it's like.
Oh,
it's-
Helen Mirren, I forgot, is Morgan Le Fay.
Yeah, we'll get to
Morgana.
her.
Really quick,
Morgan.
speaking of the Round Table, I do love that in this movie, King Arthur literally goes, "We'll build," and he pauses, "a round table." Like he actually, and then they do that in Guy Ritchie's movie too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just find it funny.
Okay,
He says that. He literally goes, "We'll build," and he dramatically pauses, "a round table." It's like that scene from Star Trek 2, "My name is Khan."
And the
I mean,
audience
for
goes,
Arthurian nerds, it's like that's probably.
Yeah,
Like,
but he's talking to the audience, not the characters.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, motherfucker,
it's
you're gonna
wink,
get
wink.
it."
What's it called? Yeah, and so and then he has a duel with Lancelot, and we just briefly discussed how
Terrible.
terrible
It
that
was
duel
pretty
is.
lame.
And then I give the props to that one scene that I guess it shows Arthur's temperament.
He's an ass.
Yeah, and he's like, ah,
Yeah, he comes off
Excalibur,
so
give me power.
unlikable. He comes off as so unlikable in that
Yeah,
scene.
that's I think that's pretty important though, that like this version of Arthur, he's not very sympathetic.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning he shows mercy and it's like yay, like like, and then after that like he just kind of comes off as a dick most of the time.
I don't know if
It's
that's
like,
intentional or not, dude. That's the problem.
I don't know.
No, Arthur's been a troublesome character.
I
Okay, but
understand
there
that,
is a
like,
way to
in-
portray the troubled protagonist. Obviously, Breaking Bad's the best example, or the most accessible. There is a way
that's
to.
Tony Soprano's problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not even just trying to say like gangster, but I'm saying there is a proper way to like have a story.
That's how
where
I
you're
know you
making-
haven't watched The Sopranos.
This is okay. Let me finish my thought. I'm just saying there is a way to have a film or a TV show that stars someone that's not the hero of their own show, and to do that right. And you can even be a little sympathetic for them, but that doesn't make them the good guy. This, I don't know if he's supposed to be a hero or not, because I can't fucking find the tone of this goddamn
He's
movie.
a
I never
flawed
knew.
hero.
And it doesn't fucking help that every scene is like cuts 5 fucking years into the future.
Yeah.
This movie is a nightmare.
Oh yeah,
There's-
let's think
I
about
will say
the
that.
makeup in not super subtle at all.
No, very bad makeup.
I'm old now.
It's been 10 years.
It's been 10 years.
Let's see, yeah, and he recruits Lancelot, and then and this is also the first time, after he throws Excalibur, he's ashamed, and we meet the Lady of the Lake, which
It
I'll
breaks.
be honest, that was a
Excalibur
cool,
breaks.
Yeah, that
that
was
was a
cool.
cool sequence. That was a cool scene. That's a creative way to introduce that character.
Listen, strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some fabricated aquatic ceremony. That's like, I just thought of that the whole time as that scene was happening.
Is that
What's that from?
is that exactly from the Holy Grail?
Yes, that's
Yes,
from
it's-
Monty
okay.
Python.
It sounded similar, but I couldn't tell if it was the exact lines and you were quoting it word for word or just like going with it.
You can't expect to wield supreme executive power just because some watery tart threw you a sword at you. Okay, sorry, that was just I couldn't help thinking of
that's
Monty
perfect.
Python the whole time I was
Yes,
watching this movie
I
because I
agree
was
that-
like, you know what, they seem to have the same production value, and the only difference is that one's a fucking comedy.
But that one's like the crew knew the limitations of their budget, and they were like, okay, why don't we use that and just make it a comedy? And
Yeah.
people will forgive us. Such.
The
no,
Holy
that was not.
Grail-
It was
No, I
supposed
know,
to be
I
a
know.
fucking
No, I know,
comedy.
I know it was supposed to be a
The
comedy.
Holy
That's the
Grail
reason
did
why.
have
It's just like-
coconuts though.
What?
The Holy Grail did have coconuts though, which makes it automatically
Did
better.
they really? What do you mean?
Coconuts. You know?
Oh yeah. The,
Oh,
the
yeah,
horse
no,
sacrifice.
yeah,
I thought you were
yeah,
trying to
that's
say from Excalibur they had
No.
coconuts. I was like, were there coconuts there? How did they get there? You know?
Okay, so let's get through this insanely sprawling plot. So he has success. He unites the lands, creates the round table, builds Camelot, marries Guinevere. Like I said, this all happens within like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just
Yeah.
the entire...
Again, it's like I don't give a shit about Guinevere. I don't care about their relationship because I don't even know who the fuck these people are.
Yeah.
Oh, and then
Guinevere,
Lancelot,
like, I know nothing.
She's a
I know
lady.
absolutely nothing about
Lancelot's
her.
fucking conversation with Guinevere, where he's like riding on the horses, and like the girls are like giggling and pointing at him, and Guinevere walks up. They asked me to ask you which one of them could win your heart, and he's like,
I love you.
He's like, my fair maiden, I love only you, and I will die for you. And then she's like, neat. But like their fucking exchange is so awkward and unreal, and
They had
it's
no
happening-
chemistry.
Yeah, it's like fucking Star Wars Attack of the Clones level bad, like romance.
Honestly,
and then they like
Yeah.
decide, okay, we're in love. Fuck it, we're gonna go fuck, and they just go into a bush somewhere. And have sex.
it's like you can see the castle like right there, and they're like, yeah, no one's
They're
gonna know
just
this
laying naked, like in a bush,
except for Sir Gawain. He immediately is like, nah, yeah, they're
Oh yeah,
fucking.
so let's
I
get
can
that.
tell.
Sir Gawain accuses Guinevere of dividing the round table or dividing their forces by, because of a potential affair, he's driving away their best knight. And as a result, Sir Liam Neeson, Garwin, just because he challenges Lancelot to a duel, and that was hilarious too. That was hilarious too.
Yeah.
What's it called? And it's like, and immediately after, like Lancelot, who's struggling with his feelings with Guinevere, he stabs himself because he's having essentially a battle with himself and his own lust and love.
I could tell it's like, oh, well, no, okay, he's having a vision, right? And then he thinks he's fighting.
He's not
He's
actually
fighting
right
himself,
about
and then he stabs himself, and it's like, did he just fall on his own fucking sword?
Pretty much,
Out in the woods, he was just flailing around naked and just stabbed himself. I'm like, that's
Oh, what's
pretty
like
sad.
Yeah,
the
he was
stray-
naked at that point.
What's the stray
funny.
guy that fucking Lancelot picks up?
That's Percival.
Percival.
Oh,
Percival, okay.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
one of the most recognizable knights. Of
Honestly,
Arthur lore.
It's so hard for me to know who any of these people are in the movie.
And also,
don't-
Percival probably has the best arc in the movie.
Yeah.
Like he actually does
The characters that
things.
works in this film.
Yeah, he does. He kind of grows. He starts off as just a dude who's like, "Hey, I want to be a knight," and
Yeah,
then in the
he
end,
starts
he
off
is
being
the best
Lancelot's
knight.
squire, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then sorry, continue.
No, that's it. No, just like
I'm
he-
sorry,
he
this
starts
movie's
off
like
that way.
hard to even like. It's like hard to even think about. There's such a jumbled mess. So much shit happens in it that I'm just like, oh god, like what?
Oh, that's why. That's fine. That's why there's an outline.
I know.
Okay, so they challenge him to a fight.
Yeah,
The fight is terrible.
And the whole purpose of the fight, which is flawed logic, and we'll talk. And then when we cover the last duel later on, and talk about how ridiculous this notion was, that this duel proves a person's innocent because only the truth may win. So what if the guy is like a liar, but he's such a good fighter?
What if you're fighting Sir Lancelot? You know, the best fighter in the kingdom.
That's like saying like you accuse John Jones of raping your wife. And you're like, I'll beat John Jones because I'm true. No, John Jones is the best MMA fighter in the world. You can
he's gonna fuck you up, dude. Like that's it.
Oh gosh, it's God, that's hilarious. Yeah, and so Lancelot wins, but he's bleeding, and then he's about to die, and then Arthur begs Merlin, protect my friend, help him, save him, and then
clearly
that happens.
He's innocent.
Yeah, that happens immediately afterwards. Guinevere and Lancelot have sex.
Yeah.
What a way to pay back your friend. You know
Right.
what I mean? He's like you what's it called? Your friend basically forces his best magic friend to save you, and immediately afterwards he's like, okay, I'm gonna fuck your wife now.
Yeah, seriously. Like Lancelot comes off like everyone comes off like an asshole pretty much. Like,
and to be fair,
except for I guess Percival.
A lot of these incidents that happened in the original text, but it was fleshed out over a long period of time.
Yeah,
and you kind of get it. And also, if it's like, it's definitely portrayed as myth and they're not real people. It's based somewhat on certain figures, so it's like more forgivable. But when you see it in person, it's just like, what the fuck? And then it just gets crazy. Arthur sees this. Arthur sees a hot Lancelot and hot Guinevere. Is like, I wish I had this body. Fuck you guys. And he stabs the sword into the ground, and now Excalibur is plunged into the land. And at the same time, the land is tied to Merlin, and then Morgana. Like I said, this a lot happens. Morgana traps Merlin in a specific ice, with a spell and his lair.
And then she rapes King Arthur.
Oh, the
Sanctitude of. Oh yeah, that it reminded me of that.
Yeah, no, it did. I think I hated. Okay, we're talking about like really quick. I just want to cut to the visuals, like just the green light that is used to portray like magic or mysticism. It looked awful. Like every time it like came on, it was just like just like this shitty green light that's hitting them, and I was like, oh, like I don't know. And then the crystal fortress that was just all green and shit. That wasn't the worst thing, honestly. In there, that felt more appropriate.
I actually that scene visually worked for me though.
That's what I'm saying. Like that wasn't too bad, but everywhere outside of it, I was like, it just looked goofy for me.
It's their $11 million budget.
Yeah.
There's like $11 million. Green light is magic.
They're like, how are you gonna portray magic? I don't know, pop up a green LED. I guess
John Borman couldn't direct that. He's like he couldn't direct Exorcist 3, so he's like, I gotta.
They didn't have LEDs back then, but still.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah. Like I said, and as Jason said, Morgana, Arthur's half sister, Igraine's daughter, who is very magically attuned. Has sex with Arthur.
Yeah, sister rape
by doing the exact same thing.
Oh god, I forgot about that.
How did you forget about that?
There's a lot of shit happening.
Stop it, Step King.
Yeah, and then, I'll be honest. It was interesting.
I was like shocking when it happened. I was like, oh, sister fucking. Like,
wait, you didn't know that from Arthur?
I don't fucking know. Whoa, this last. I mean, now I do.
Yeah.
To be fair, I focused most of my research on the Sir Gawain stuff.
Yes, I also did.
But yeah, like I was not aware that she just fucking rapes him.
There's incest galore. I mean, in the original text, Arthur has more siblings. Like it's Morgause and there's Aaron, and it's actually Morgause who he has an affair with, and sometimes it's rape, sometimes it's actual. They're just like horny and fuck, or he just thinks she's Guinevere without magic and still has sex, which I don't. What the fuck?
There's no way to tell this.
It sounds like a bad cover story, you know.
And then what's it called? Yeah, it's interesting.
Stop it, Step King.
And then,
anyway,
they give Morgana gives birth to the incestuous offspring Mordred,
with one of the goofiest looking outfits and helmets I've ever seen.
It's goofy looking, but I want to see a good version of it because I like what it's going for.
The concept is not.
The concept
bad.
is cool, but it looks terrible. I'm sorry. That's one of my biggest criticisms of the whole fucking movie is the costume design. I understand we had a limitation of budget, but like shit, what else came out that year that had a lot of costume design in it.
I mean, okay, well,
Everything had bigger budget than this.
yeah, no, I give it a little credit because I was like, I like the Conan movies, but their costumes are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Like those ones are bad. So I don't know. I don't want to
God,
get too much
Merlin,
shit.
Merlin,
I mean,
you
Star
know,
Wars
you know when
came
you go to
out,
a
but-
salon and like the old ladies are getting their hair bleached and they have like the metal things on their heads. That's what Merlin had on. His head the entire movie.
Yeah, he looked so goofy.
When did Waterloo come out? The Napoleon film?
Waterloo?
When
I
did
want to say
Waterloo
that
come
was
out? That was-
probably like I think around 81, like in the same time. maybe.
Yeah, but that one had like a whole donation from like a country, the army and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's a special treat.
Waterloo.
What's
Waterloo. No, that's 70.
What's that?
1970.
1970s? Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Yeah, but that one was
Wow.
a
How's the
big
costume?
production
I haven't
stuff.
seen it. How's the costume design?
fantastic.
It's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
impeccable. It's like one
That-
of the
It's impeccable.
I'll never forgive Waterloo though because we never got our Stanley Kubrick fucking Napoleon Bonaparte movie.
It's a
because
good
of it.
movie, honestly. It's not amazing, and yeah, I would have fucking way
That's-
rather see the Stanley Kubrick.
I have a weird
version.
obsession with Napoleon Bonaparte, and I love Stanley Kubrick, so that would have been made for me
Yeah.
personally.
Let's not diverge onto a
Okay.
Napoleon conversation. We got
So-
3 movies to talk
Yeah,
about here.
so yeah, that still happens. And it's Arthur's final years as a monarch. Final years as a monarch. He's a sickly king, and he's asking everybody to find the Holy Grail. And one of the main knights in charge is Percival, and he does. And you know, Percival goes through his own journey, and and he encounters Morgana, who killed all the other knights. But this is probably my favorite sequence from the film.
I agree.
Yeah, it's like when he actually saw the Holy Grail, it's like I said, it's
It gets kind of like surreal.
trippy and
yeah,
psychedelic.
it's the surrealistic imagery and then it's what's called the strong like backlight, and you know what's called you see the nice outline of the Grail, and then the mists and the blue lights. It's pretty. It
was cool,
I liked
yeah.
it. Yeah, that's like probably. I mean, I wish I somehow. In a perfect world, I wish John Boorman had another writer. Like, I would still keep this guy as maybe director. He has like 10 times the budget. He has a writer. He actually has a producer because he's his own producer, and he got a trilogy of films or quadrilogy of films.
I hate to be criticizing this movie, but in that moment, the super trippy psychedelic scene, I remember thinking, "This is so visually great. I wish I could care though." Like it like almost ruins it. It's like this is really pretty, but
I'll say one of the things that I think maybe helped carry this movie was the music. Like that, the music in
was
the
good,
movie
yeah.
is fantastic, and it's been used for a million
Was that
shitty
the-
YouTube compilation videos.
Yeah, yeah. Is
ever
that the
since
origin
then.
of this music?
I believe so.
Okay.
Like I should probably look that up.
Because I obviously immediately recognized
Yeah,
I
it.
it's like,
assumed
duh, duh,
that this wasn't the origin of that music.
The
but
composer Trevor Jones, he did like Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, who's some of Miles' favorite films.
I love those films. I think that they're beautiful.
Yeah, immediately when I saw his name, I was like, "So that's why Miles liked this film." I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Don't worry, Miles. You'll see at the end of my opinion of this film.
By the way, we are going to be talking about those two films at some point. I'm going to make it happen.
down.
Okay.
yeah, I'm done.
I've never seen them, but I'm interested.
I've also never
They're
seen
worth
them,
a watch.
and I've understand that people fucking love the shit out of them. So gotta check it
Yeah.
out. They also love the shit out of Excalibur.
Yeah,
What's it?
I think I could see why.
If
you
you,
know?
saw this movie as a 12-year-old,
yeah,
maybe.
Fuck yeah! Like I know if I watched this movie when I was
But
younger,
also,
I would have probably loved.
I might
it.
have been bored by it though too. I
No,
don't
I think
know.
as a kid,
No,
I would have loved
12
this
years
shit.
old, I had already seen all of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This would not have
Not
done,
have done
it
it for you.
I would have
Okay.
been like, this blows.
8-year-old
Put on
me would have
Return of
loved
the King.
this.
All right, and let's just like
Yeah,
push through
rape.
the story.
Yeah,
Fuck, it's like
yeah, it is not for children.
This is not
So-
for children.
so Percival gets the Holy Grail. Arthur drinks it, gets revitalized. Arthur and Guinevere are at the convent, and they kind of reconcile their relationship.
Oh, wait, real quick.
Holy Grail.
Lancelot becomes like
A crazy
a
person.
drunk monk or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Lancelot. What, I don't even
Don't you remember? He's like,
Percival
"Ah!"
runs into him, and he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Lancelot, we need you. He's
Oh
like,
my
get the
God.
fuck out of here.
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah,
about
because
that.
out of guilt for betraying his king and his best friend. Yeah, it's
Oh,
interesting.
how the mighty have fallen.
If
And
this
then-
movie had better pacing.
What's it called? Yeah, and then what's it called? Arthur wields Excalibur once more because Guinevere had it and gave it back to him.
It's like that's such a fascinating story. Sorry to cut you off, but like Lancelot, again, the most like kind of beloved and respected knight in the kingdom, falling to be like some drunk asshole. Like that would have been an awesome movie.
Yeah.
Like,
It
I
would
would've loved to
have
see that
been really
story.
cool if it wasn't just two scenes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
just like, oh, we meet him, and then he's a dick, and then now he's fucked up. Like, I don't know.
I don't think this
King
will ever
Arthur's
happen.
a cuck.
But seeing this actually kind of made me like wish for some type of like high budget premium show regarding this, and they tried multiple
yeah.
times.
This would be really good as a show. Yeah.
But
King Arthur's a cuck.
I doubt it at this point because like at this point like almost every Arthur adaptation has not been successful. But not even in terms of creatively, just like commercially. So I doubt it'll ever happen. Oh, what's it called? But yeah, okay, let's breeze through this. Merlin, because of Arthur begging for Merlin to come back to the power of friendship.
I came back because of your love.
Yeah.
Because you loved me so much, Arthur.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. He's so Merlin comes back to Arthur in like almost a fever dream.
Yeah, they always seem like they had such a tender relationship, you know?
Yeah. And then,
Merlin is like a servant. Like they always, but also he's kind of pulling the strings. It's a weird dynamic, right?
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
It's
Like,
a very strange.
He
dynamic.
gets abused, but also it seems like he might be in charge sometimes. Dude, this movie like doesn't
Yeah,
communicate.
I feel
to me.
like the idea of Merlin was really more perfected with like Gandalf and stuff of like this kind of guiding wizard hand who kind of like
He
is
almost
involved.
did direct Lord of the Rings.
I
right?
know, right? He's like he
Oh,
can be a
that-
dick
Would
sometimes.
that have been
he can be
Gandalf's
angry.
costume?
And you know,
Oh,
the-
God,
you
probably.
know, the thing
God.
is, I'll get into like
His stick would
about
be
the
like
Lord
a
of the Rings
twig.
thing.
Yeah.
And when I get the final
I mean,
opinions.
obviously Tolkien took huge inspirations.
Yeah,
from, like,
yeah.
Arthur.
yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so basically Merlin tricks Morgana into using all her magic. Mordred and then she becomes old as a result of using all her magic. She's no longer youthful. And then Mordred was like, "Who is this bitch?"
Yeah.
he kills.
I don't know who the fuck you
mom.
are. I'm gonna kill you right now.
Yeah, just because she's old. You know, I mean, very ageist.
Yeah. He's like, yuck, dude. My mom was hot. What's up with you?
Yeah. And then what's it called? Arthur's forces collide with Mordred's forces. But because of the dragon's breath, the same thing Uther used to fuck Igraine, was a mist covering the land. Arthur got the advantage and he's able to take out most of the forces. And Lancelot, crazy ass Lancelot even comes in to help the forces of Arthur's forces. But Mordred has a secret thing up his sleeve, which is Morgana created the golden outfit that he armor that he wears, where no mortal weapon or something can penetrate it. But Excalibur is not a mortal weapon. Na 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 na. So as a result, Arthur and Mordred in father and son embrace. By the way, wonderful line when Mordred talks to Arthur and says, "Sir, like that, I want the kingdom." And he's like, I can't give you the crown, but I can give you my love.
There's that line though that like Mordred says as he's like getting impaled by Excalibur, like, "Come, father, let us embrace."
Yeah.
Or whatever. That's a fucking awesome line.
I
will
enjoy
say,
that.
visually, that scene looks sick with that red sun in
Yes.
the background and like the fog and everything. I was like, now that's awesome. I
Would've
was
been-
like, that looks fucking dope. That,
Would have been great if I was emotionally connected to the story.
too soon to say our favorite moments, but I'm just gonna say that was my favorite.
Oh
moment
yeah,
in the
no,
movie.
I agree. That is also my favorite.
The
moment.
emotional way to that scene, not existent, but like just the rest of it, I was like, this is cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's and then they die, and then Percival throws Excalibur to the Lady of the Lake. As you can see, that we spent like a chunk of this movie just discussing the plot because there's so fucking much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is a wow.
like
Yeah.
Wow. You can't blink.
Yeah.
It seems like every scene is like this giant, grand, important moment. And if you blink, the character's 20 years older. Like, it's like, oh man, where are we? What's going on? Is this guy still around?
Yeah.
What happened to Merlin? Like, I don't know. This movie's pacing is just like off the fucking walls. It's like scene. It's like a machine gun just shooting off scenes. Like, just like slow down, please. I don't know. Miles, why? Why do you like this?
I like it. I really think that it is because of the nostalgia. Because as you're talking about it, I do see all the problems that you're mentioning. But it just always felt like a fun movie to me. Yeah, I mean, yes, the production value is not all that great when it comes to costume designs and stuff. But they're cool costumes. You gotta admit that they're cool. They might look bad,
I would
but
not
they're cool.
say that.
I will not admit
I
to
would
that.
not
Okay.
say that. I get it. I can get why people would like this. Like I remember obviously I've been researching King Arthur, and this comes up a lot in like King Arthur discussions. Like people on Reddit fucking love it. People everywhere fucking love it. I can get it. If you see this movie as like a 12-year-old, and maybe fuck it, if you're like super into King Arthur shit, I know there's a lot of dudes that are super into King Arthur. Maybe it works, but for me,
It's like there's not many chances to see those
Yes.
kind of big grand stories
so
brought to life.
if you really like King Arthur lore, this is for you. I have to say this though. I haven't seen a movie in a while that was this hard to get through for me. This was like an actual like hardship for
It
me.
took you over a week.
yeah,
It took me over a week.
by
I
the
couldn't
time
do
they
it.
got
This
to
is
the-
harder to watch than the Emoji Movie.
I would sooner watch the Emoji Movie than
It's-
this.
it's-
I would
it was
say
hard.
by the time they got to the point where his son, what the fuck's his son's name? Mordred. Oh yeah, Mordred. I forgot
Incest
they made-
baby.
Yeah, like by the time they get to the incest baby,
Incest
I was like,
baby.
oh man, how much is left? It's like I was like, man, he's got to be an adult, and I know it's
Yeah.
gonna lead somewhere, and I'm like,
Oh, don't worry.
Yeah.
That's 4 minutes. Like,
But yeah, I agree. Once he was having an incest baby that was being groomed to be a villain, I was like, oh fuck no. I was like, no.
like, how much?
We don't need a whole nother plot.
It's
We don't need a whole nother fucking movie inside of this fucking movie.
this movie felt
King
like
Arthur's a cuck.
this movie felt like if Sir what's it called Christopher Mallory's Lamorth Arthur's text was in the beach of the film Old.
yeah, right.
It was
Yeah.
just rapidly
Every
aging.
minute's a year.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into try to wrap this up. But wait, let's get into performances. There's a lot of debate online whether it's over the top or whether it fit the tone, or it was like it's. Some people think it's over the top. Some people felt that the bombastic nature fit the nature of the film. They all knew what type of movie they were in, and they acted that
It's-
way. What do you guys think?
From
And what were
scene
your
to
favorite
scene,
performance?
it's so inconsistent that it's hard to say. Like I said, there are scenes where certain people stand out, but there's also scenes like the one I was talking about with Lancelot and what's her name? I can't believe I've been researching fucking King Arthur show. Guinevere. Like that scene is so poorly like acted and paced, so it's hard to say performance because it's so inconsistent for me. Like where there are scenes where people are kind of given it, but then there's other scenes where it's just really awkward and sterile. And it doesn't help that a lot of it's ADR too. Obviously, that really hurts it.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd kind of jumped the gun before, but like I said, I think Gabriel Byrne is the person who hit it the best. Like hit the nail on the head. He had the right kind of presence and bombastic nature that like he got it. Like what this movie was, and I don't know, close second probably like Liam Neeson. You know, like he seemed like when he was doing his the scene that he got pretty much because he got like a scene and a half in the whole movie. Like I was like, okay, I think he's kind of gets like how this movie's supposed to feel.
Him and Gabriel Byrne were the best two.
I think Patrick Stewart
Yeah.
also is in there. I think
He's good. Yeah.
was it in
He
the
was
same
good.
vein. Like he just was hamming it up to the perfect amount. And I might just be biased because I love Patrick Stewart, but I think he was good. I think he fit the tone of the movie. Everyone else sucked.
Helen
Merlin
Mirren. I think Helen Mirren was also pretty. Like for
yeah,
what
she
it
was-
was, I think she
she was
was
fine.
the
That's
best
the-
of the female.
But again, they
characters.
didn't give her like anything really.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Just
Yeah, but
like
Merlin was
evil
awful.
woman. Merlin was real bad. Arthur was real bad.
Merlin was
Lancelot
hilarious.
was real bad.
When he falls back in the river, he's like, "Whoa!" yeah, just falls.
I was like,
where the
God,
fuck
and
did
that
that
sound
come
effect,
from?
too.
Is that bad performance attributed to the actors, or is that attributed to just a bad direction?
That I
probably-
would guess
I would-
direction. Both probably.
No,
Yeah.
A bit of
Nicholas-
both.
Nicholas Williamson is supposedly a really acclaimed Shakespearean actor. And weird, him and Helen Mirren actually like hate each other because they were on a bad production of Macbeth.
Oh.
And then, that's why they casted them because I heard you guys hate each other, so perfect.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I put this more on bad performance directing, because it's like, look, you've seen a lot of these actors provide great performances before, and they have a great repertoire. So why, it's not like, and they suddenly have a bad one. It's probably, I think they were directed by John Borman to act this way. Like, Nicole Williamson can be like, really? And he's like, no, yeah, I want you to like fall in the river with your hands waving and stuff. Or I want you to like have a Looney Tunes moment where you hit your head, your helmet on like, I don't know, like a part of like a ceiling.
What
or
is
something.
that helmet? What is that?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
This is a head.
It was like I'm fine with them playing it serious. You know, I'm fine with them doing like the big bombastic performance. That's totally fine. But yeah, it's just like when it crosses the line of being just goofy, and then it becomes over the top.
And like, there's
it's
a lot of like, there's a lot of really good dialogue in this movie, but like when Merlin's sitting there, like one word he said sticks out to me. The way he said it, it was like dream, and I'm just like I forget what the actual line was, but that could have been. I remember thinking that's a good line of dialogue that is absolutely ruined by the performance.
I see John Boorman say, okay, he probably say dream, and then no, I need you to like accentuate it, right?
Yeah.
It's like really under.
You're Merlin.
Yeah, Merlin. He's like, okay, so dream. No, again, dream. That's the take.
Further.
Let's kind of get into our overall opinions. Let's start off with you, Jason. What did you like? Some of your opinion, and give your final rating on this film.
It's pretty easy for me. It's real quick. I fucking hated it. This is in the shit bucket. I liked one scene, and that was when Percival finds the Holy Grail. Other than that, I hated it. It looked good sometimes.
I'm more or less the same boat. It was a chore getting through this. It was real tough. Like, I would put it on for like 20 minutes and be like, you know, when you're stressed at work, that's how I felt. It was like, oh no, I can't believe I have to do this. I can't believe this is on my plate. I won't give it the shit bucket. I'll give it, what's the one above that? Streaming?
Or this bargain bin.
I mean, I would never own this, but yeah.
Yeah.
Bargain bin.
Bargain bin streaming.
It doesn't work for me at all. It's King Arthur's a cook.
I would say like kind of like mostly what I've said before. Like I think there were some creative uses of the budget. I think the visuals were pretty cool. The music was fine. I mean, it was actually pretty cool at times, and some of it worked for me. Most of it just did not. But I think overall, like, I would probably buy it. Like, I might actually buy it just to own it, just because it does feel like a piece of like movie history. You know, there's a lot of influences I see from other artists that took from it, and it's like I don't know. Like, there's something that I see there that I guess why I can kind of see why people would love it. Not really for me, but I think I don't know. I'd still want to own it for whatever reason. I can't exactly say why, but like I'd want to have it. Yeah.
Oh no!
So on the shelf.
Oh no!
Or is it bargain bin?
I would say probably bargain bin.
Okay.
Like I'm not going to go out of my way to like to.
Is there a
buy,
great
like a
criterion of this?
yeah. It's like.
Is there?
Yeah,
No,
I'm not going to
there
pay
isn't.
that much
No,
for
there
this.
isn't.
Like I would want to have it. You know.
I'm sure there's a special release for this though.
Yeah. Oddly enough, knowing all the faults of this film and stuff like that,
Oh no!
No, don't
Oh,
don't
no.
you fucking dare.
Don't do
I
it.
give it on the shelf.
Okay.
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 I'm not gonna preserve it.
I actually agree with Philip.
okay.
This is a movie that I would put on my shelf, probably on the bottom shelf. It's not. It's not a great movie.
Your shelf isn't alphabetized.
No, it's organized based on
He
the
goes off the
quality of
X.
work. Yeah.
Is that really how your fucking movie collection is organized?
Well, yeah, because if I
By
want,
quality of work?
yeah, per shelf.
How
So-
the fuck do you find anything?
Okay, so I've
If
got
he likes it, it's at the top.
I've got one shelf that is just collections of movies. So that's where I've got my Bond collection, my Jurassic Park collection, my Back to the Future collection, Harry Potter, Indiana Jones, I already said Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, things like that. So I've got that shelf specifically for collections, and then I've got a top, middle, and bottom shelf. Top shelf is alphabetical for things that I think are really high quality. Then, which is like basically my museum. That's where I would put the movies when I say they go in the museum. And then my other two shelves are just like the other movies I've got.
Yeah, keep mine simple. It's just color coordinated.
Mine's by like directors or genres or something like that.
Mine's by first director. I'm just kidding.
I don't buy movies, so
Yeah, I mean, so the reason why I put it on the shelf is like, yeah, despite all his flaws, I'm a huge fan of Arthurian lore. I took like 3 classes of him, and not of him particularly, but like
Really, I did not know that.
Yeah, it's like actually 2 of them were requirements, and the third one was just because that just happened. Yeah, huge fan of Arthurian lore. I really love the media that comes from it, the original text, and also from this film particularly. I give it props because there's not a lot of rated R adaptations of Arthurian lore.
Yeah.
It definitely
Oh,
go for it, which
I think the Clive Owen one had an unrated cut.
Yeah.
that one still sucked.
Yeah, no, apparently, like he really wanted to make it R-rated. Like he was like pushing for it, but they just didn't want. They were too scared to do it.
Okay.
So then, like later, one of the complaints, I guess, for it was that it was so bloodless and shit. And then he was like, "Fucking knew it." Like
I know,
he was
Clive
so
Owen.
mad.
Poor Clive Owen. Oh, what's it called? And on top of that, there's a lot of technical merits that I do. Like we're talking about the visual sequences with the Holy Grail, the sun when Mordred and Arthur embrace through spears and sword.
Father,
And
let
also
us
like a
embrace.
couple of the cool things that I see like in other media, where it's like they purposely shine extra light on the armor to have that glint.
Yeah.
the
Oh, it
look
was
to
very
it.
glinty.
Yeah.
This movie felt soft. Like
Yeah.
a lot of it was soft.
Or like how they soften the film, or how they sort of stuff. Like it's a lot of thought and care, and aesthetically, like they definitely went for broke. And you see this film influencing Zack Snyder. We talked about him. A lot of these shots, even the one in the shots, like it's like I reminiscent one of the shots in like Guardians of the Galaxy where like the when they're fighting against like the moon and stuff. I mean, it's not the red moon.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So it's like I said, it and then so as a result of its like kind of place in film history, that's why I put it on the shelf.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, fine.
That's fair. I just don't like
All
it.
right,
Yeah,
let's
I'm never
move
watching it again. I
on.
never want to speak of it again.
All right, so now that we got our opinions for Excalibur out of the way, our next film.
Okay,
Okay,
Fine, just redo.
that's fine.
you're
Well,
fine.
let's just keep that in. Let's. What's wrong? Sorry, we just found a new breakthrough at the end. We are discovering Apple 5.
Yay for Apple. Wait, no.
What's it called? Okay, so the next one we're talking about is Guy Ritchie's King Arthur: Legend of the Sword. It's what's it called? It's nice big steak with A1 sauce. It's what's it called?
They're not get that analogy.
Yeah, it's just like nice Guy Ritchie steak. All the steak sauce in the world, all the blood and juices with no actual blood because it's rated PG-13. What's it called? So, okay, brief synopsis. After the murder of his father by his power-crazed uncle, Vortigern, Arthur is robbed of his birthright and is forced to live in the dirty, dangerous slums of the city. Growing up hardened and tormented by both his forgotten past, a difficult upbringing, Arthur is called upon by fate to pull the Excalibur sword from stone, embrace his true destiny in order to defeat his uncle and reclaim his birthright.
He grew up a little Don Draper, in a
Yeah,
whorehouse.
pretty much. So, what is everyone's history with like Guy Ritchie and his films?
I'm like shamefully haven't seen any of his real classic Guy Ritchie movies.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Yeah, I've only seen like really most of his modern movies.
Okay.
I can't even name them off.
Yeah, same.
So I've seen Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, Rock and Rolla, which is
Rock
one
and
of his
Rolla,
lesser
yeah.
known.
I
But
saw
films.
Rock
that
and
was supposed to be
Rolla.
a trilogy too, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a bummer.
The sequel never came out, right? It's called Real Rock and Rolla.
I didn't like Rock and Rolla. I don't know.
I liked it. I don't remember it very well.
Honestly,
I saw it a long time ago, but I remember enjoying it. And it had a lot of like really up and coming actors. Like it was early
Gerard
Gerard
Hardy?
Butler,
Was Tom Hardy in
early
that?
Tom Hardy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You also have what's her name? She plays Maeve in Westworld.
Oh, I don't know
yeah.
her name, but I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, she was there too. Yeah, there's a lot.
And the main actor, I really liked him as well. I forget his name. But anyway, so I've seen a good amount, and then I saw
Tom Hardy was in that film too, actually.
Yeah, Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes. The first one. I have not seen the second one.
I saw
He
both.
has great casts, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, like that's basically it for my Guy Ritchie knowledge.
I'm with Ron. I haven't seen too many Guy Ritchie films. I've seen the Sherlock Holmes movies, which I remember really liking, actually. Although I should mention that I saw those like when they fucking came out, so it's been a while.
Yeah, I
Has
saw.
anyone seen Aladdin?
No.
I watched the
I
first 30
refuse.
minutes. I did not like it.
Yeah, that sucks. I barely even considered that Guy Ritchie film. It does not feel like
Yeah,
that.
that's like
no,
a
fuck no. Like that's what I was gonna say about King Arthur. Is like no one says fuck.
Has no one seen Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
No.
I've seen bits and pieces of it when I worked at the movie theater, but
Yeah.
not all the way through.
That one is, yeah, it's like basically King Arthur is like he got everybody from Man from U.N.C.L.E. except the cast, and then just decided to make this movie. Like Like if you just look at like what's it called, the credits of the people that he's worked with, almost all of them have like previous collaboration, Man from Uncle,
Okay.
and stuff like that. That's definitely underrated. Yeah, this film had a weird development cycle. Like it's like, and you can tell from the cheat sheet, there's like a whole page of this. It's because like this was after what's it called, after the whole like Avengers craze and the MCU craze happened. So they really wanted to make a cinematic universe. So okay, so originally this film was what's called Arthur and Lancelot. It was the script was developed and to be and also to be directed by David Hopkins, who directed Wedding Crashers. A perfect choice for a King Arthur film.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were close to starting production. They had the financing, they got the budget, but suddenly was axed from their Warner's development slate in 2013. The two people playing the leads, Kit Harington from as Arthur and Joel Kinnaman as Lancelot.
Okay.
Who's Joel Kinnaman?
He's the guy who plays Rick Flag in Suicide Squad.
Oh,
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. That's interesting. I honestly
That's good
Kit Harington.
casting. I think it's like
Yeah.
playing it real safe with Kit Harington.
Yeah.
You know.
And this was before like Game of Thrones got hit like season
Fu-
3.
funny enough, King Harington is actually a descendant from English nobility.
Yeah.
Like he's of like I think which king it was, but like he's technically a descendant of
He
of,
played
like of a
he-
king.
he played one of his ancestors in an HBO miniseries, Gunpowder or something.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know
it was super weird.
that. That's cool.
What's it called? Yeah, but they dropped the film because for two reasons. Because $130 million production budget, which why literally King Arthur, the Clive Owen film just came out, and that like flopped super fucking hard.
Yeah.
So they were, but that was like, oh, we learned from our mistakes by doing it again, and more expensive.
So they went a very different route because that I know we're not talking about that movie, but they decided to do the Roman version where it's like closer to the historically accurate version, which is like an actual Roman general leader that like fought against the Saxon and Anglo-Saxon invasion. So I don't know. I don't know. I got a guilty pleasure for that one, but save that one for another time.
This version, however.
This version,
Yeah, this version, like they wanted to drop both actors. They want to try bigger name stars like Colin Farrell and James McAvoy. Both of them saw the script and were like, ooh. And Gary Oldman was actually potentially going to play Lancelot against Kit Harington.
What?
Yeah, I know.
That's
Yeah, I know.
I'd say a bad choice.
They were high as fuck when they were developing.
I
this.
love Gary Oldman, but he's
He could be Merlin.
old. He's too old to
He could
play
be
Lancelot.
Merlin. He could be Merlin.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say Merlin.
No, but like literally Lancelot. I have no fucking idea why. And Guy Ritchie, he was himself already by himself
He's
trying to develop
old,
a King
man.
Arthur film. He was trying to develop a King Arthur film, and he was working with the guy who wrote Trainspotting, John Hodge.
Sick.
And then that was his own thing. Like they probably already had like a nice script before what happened. But suddenly Warner Brothers on that big MCU cock craze, it gets a pitch from Mr. Joby Harold, who said to Warner Brothers like, "Hey, I have a 6-film shared universe franchise pitch for you guys. This is gonna be a separate movie, one for Arthur, one for Lancelot, one for Percival, one for Merlin," and just like on and on and on. And he says that, and at the end, they're all gonna team up together in like Excalibur, like kind of like that.
Thanos.
That's their
Yeah.
own version. And in a weird way, that's kind of what should have happened with Excalibur. But yeah, yeah. Warner Brothers were like so turned on from this. They opened up their legs and they were like, "We want this now." Yeah, and then so they green light like an Arthurian
6
film.
movies.
Yeah, they were like they green light 6 films. They were like, "We're gonna give this film $175 million budget."
This did not need its budget.
No, yeah, and then they didn't even get Guy Ritchie at this point. Like,
Well, we'll get into it.
and then,
Talk about it.
and then they got Guy Ritchie on board because they heard about that. The $107 million budget. But as they were making the script, right, they started going away from, what's it called? Harold's original pitch. They were, let's just do Excalibur again and just like mix like 10 different scripts together. And that's pretty much happened. Warner Brothers, they had David Dawkins script, they had the Guy Ritchie and John Hodge script, and they got like one of the other ones with the Darkland sequence and stuff. That was supposed to be a whole separate movie.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
that scene is cut together like a fucking trailer for a movie,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it feels like that could have been a whole thing. But
yeah, that was supposed to be a whole separate
I
movie.
was
The
gonna
Merlin
say.
script. Yeah.
Sorry, just because it's on tune. They said this is setting up 6 fucking movies. This feels like 6 fucking movies.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And honestly, I want the intro as a movie.
Oh fuck
Yeah.
I mean,
The-
again,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah, and then what's it called? Yeah, so they had like they put so many. It's a as in the article by I think Tribune or Telegraph, they say this is like a Frankenstein style script, 6 different scripts together. And even cast troubles. Like Charlie Hunnam was the first actor they signed on, and he was specifically chased by Guy Ritchie. And
Didn't he chase
Guy
Ritchie to do it?
He auditioned for it, and the Guy Ritchie liked him, but then Warner Bros didn't want him, so like he had to like chase and fight for him. You know what I mean?
I read that
Charlie Hunnam really fucking
he
wanted
did
this role.
No, he did. It was like a perfect. They're basically chasing each other.
he offered to fight Henry Cavill
Yeah.
for
I gotta
the honor of playing.
And
this
I gotta
role.
be honest, fucking Charlie Hunnam's very shredded in this movie. I don't know that he wins a fight against Henry
No, I think
Cavill.
Henry Cavill can fuck him up.
Although the other contender was Jai Courtney, and I think he definitely beats up Jai
yeah,
Courtney.
yeah.
Well, this
But
was
also, Henry Cavill's like a really sweet guy. I don't know if he'd like want to be in a fight.
Charlie Hunnam, I think, was actually cast pretty damn well for this kind
Yeah,
of
no,
art.
this
Yeah.
is
Oh,
for,
yeah.
for the street like gangster Arthur. He's the perfect casting.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's great. Idris Elba was supposed to be the Jimon Hansu role with the Bedivere.
Yeah.
That was to be played by Idris Elba.
I would have been fine with that.
Yeah,
That
and
would
then,
be
but
cool.
he
But I also
dropped out.
liked seeing
Jimon Hansu.
Jim. Yeah, I never
Yeah,
can't
I
pronounce
can't
his
say
name.
his name.
What's it called? And
He's
Elizabeth
great.
Olsen was also supposed to be playing the mage, but she also was like, "Oh, what's this?" Ew. And then she loved too. So it's a lot. And the film had screened. People hated it, and so as a result, like it was supposed to come out 2016, but they delayed it almost like 6-8 months later.
Can you
They had to
imagine
go
that
back and
original
reshoot
cut,
it.
dude?
They reshot it and added a whole nother part of another script into this, and that's the film that we got now.
Oh yeah, and you
Yeah.
can tell while you're watching it.
It's some hardcore shit.
Yeah.
You were saying about the opening of this movie, though.
Okay. Before we even get to that, I do want to say this though, because I think Jason agrees with me. This movie's it's a nightmare, but I like it too.
Yeah.
It's like this like fucking disaster, and it's kind of a train wreck, but I can't help but actually really like a lot of it.
It kind of works in like a weird way.
Yeah.
And it's a movie that should not work
Yeah,
at all.
everything about this is fundamentally wrong. Yet as I'm watching it unfold, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, Guy Ritchie, you make a weird fucking interpretation on this. You make Gangster King Arthur, yeah. Whatever. You want to do a fucking montage? Yeah. You want to have a scene of fucking Charlie Hunnam swinging his sword in the Darklands, going yeah. Fuck it.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, I had a similar reaction to
This is the ultimate just fuck it, why not movie.
But like specifically with the opening of the movie, like I was like,
I
this
wanted
is
that to
pretty
be
awesome.
I
Man.
wanted the first 10 minutes to be its own movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see an Uther movie. That was probably
Uther kills his horse.
Yeah.
That was probably an Uther movie that they
killed
just
first.
did. Eric Bana, amazing.
Yeah, he
I
was
love
awesome.
this guy.
Yeah, like I think that again, that opening portrayal, the war with the mages. I'm like, dude, I would have loved to see that.
Yeah,
Like that was
yeah.
sick. The giant
Elephants and shit.
Mr. Frodo, it's the elephants. I was like, they're like shooting
And-
fireballs from the top of it. I was like, this is really cool, dude. I was like, I would love to continue watching this movie, and the rest of it is not that at all. And it's hard to blame the rest of the movie for having to stack up against the beginning of the movie because I was like, oh, this is so fun. And then it becomes like the street thug Arthur, which was fine, but like it's just so different from what I felt this movie was trying to sell to
Yeah,
me.
the opening
it-
is like high concept fantasy, but it's not even the only reason I like it so much. It's also like I really thought like I kind of felt the emotions of the first like opening of like the Uther's like sacrifice, the betrayal of
Jude Law.
Stop coughing.
I'm dying, sorry. The like Uther's sacrifice, like Vortigern's whole fucking thing. Like I just thought this opening really worked. I was like, wow, this is insane already. I did think it was excessive. Like I'm like, holy fucking shit, there's so much going on already. Like it just immediately starts and throws you into like the middle of the action, which is what I mean. Like I think it could have been its own movie.
Yeah,
And it probably was, according to Philip.
yeah. It's gosh, and it's cool too because we don't have we never had a media just based on the dad, and that
No.
would have been cool. That would have been a refreshing take.
Also portrayed more heroic here than in Excalibur.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
In
yeah.
Excalibur, he's like a rapist piece of shit. In this, he's like the most noble king ever, maybe.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
played by Eric Bana. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he was so good, dude.
Yeah,
I
he
love
looks-
Eric Bana too.
he
Like
he always looks like a royal.
Yeah.
Just like even in his ugliest days, he looks like a royal.
Yeah. Even in his fucking
Even in
His
fucking when Romeo
Hulk.
when he was playing Hulk, and I was
Yeah.
like, this guy's probably gonna be like in Tutors or something, season 5.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, he's great. I would have loved to see an entire thing from it. But from what we got, thank God bless Guy Ritchie. I don't know if he used his connects and had a beer with him and just started talking about MMA. And that's how he got Arabana into it. Because apparently he's kind of picky now or whatever at this time.
Well, I guess good for him. He's one of those actors that is always good in whatever he's in. Like, the movie's terrible. Eric Bana was great. Like, I've always enjoyed his performance and his presence in movies. Like Troy, that's another one that's like kind of a guilty pleasure, but he's fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
As like was it Henry or what
yeah,
the fuck is
Oh,
his character's name?
It's not Henry.
No, Prince.
What's it?
Whatever. He's
we'll
the
think
Prince
about
of Troy. Him, and then Orlando Bloom, who I think was terribly cast in that. But
it's not good.
whatever. We're not gonna talk about Troy.
Also, one other thing about this intro too is I really like Jude Law in it, and I don't know why this intro really had me go, oh fuck, Jude Law is gonna be like, he's gonna make this movie. For whatever reason, the first 15 minutes of this film where it opens with the father and everything, I was like, oh man, I'm really feeling Jude Law. Like he's so emotional. He really portrays that well as he has to, kill his wife to like get what he wants. You really see like the pain in him. And you also like, it made me believe there was going to be a lot more to his character. I thought that they were going to go for a sympathetic villain. I thought that he was doing what would you call this? Mutiny? Not mutiny. What would the word be? Taking over a kingdom.
Coup.
That's
A
cool.
coup.
Yeah.
I thought this coup was like going to be honorable in his eyes somehow. I thought that maybe he was worried that his brother Uther was like fucking shit up. I thought that this was like him doing what he had to do.
That
Of
would've been
course,
cool.
That would be
but
interesting.
unfortunately, every scene with Jude Law after this makes him less and less interesting. Every single scene, he becomes less interesting to me.
Yeah,
He's
really
just evil man.
Yeah, but in the beginning, did you guys not get the vibe that
Yeah,
was
when
just-
he killed his wife,
and he's, like,
you could see
crying.
he didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But really, all it was is he just wanted power.
Yeah, he's like arguing like, no, we have to go to war with the mages. Like, it's a bad thing. We gotta like get rid of them or whatever. And it's like, again, that could have been played way more sympathetically.
Yeah, I could get like why
Yeah.
he would think that, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe just killed their mom or something like that. And
Yeah.
there's all deep hatred for his mom. Yeah,
Yeah.
but then that was probably in another better Arthur script that they had to take out. What's it called? It's a lot. Yeah, it's cool. The opening. Oh gosh, I'm just like intoxicated by it. I'm just getting like wet dreams about that opening now.
That had also really good look in CGI. Like most
Yeah.
of it looked really good, and then by the end of the movie, with
was
the fight
bad.
scene with him and Vortigern was
That's because they spent all
shit.
their money in the first 15 minutes
Okay,
of the movie.
we'll get to that. Let's go in order. I might have a different opinion regarding that, but okay. So so we talked about the opening. Let's go. Uther defeats Mordred, who in this case is just a rogue mage. What's it
Yeah,
called?
not Arthur's son.
Yeah, and then Vortigern betrays and kills Uther and Guinevere. What's it called? And they introduced the power of Excalibur once you put two hands on a Pendragon bloodline. It
Which
was
is
like
dumb,
yeah.
but
it's made from Merlin's staff, right? Or,
Yeah.
something like that. And by the way, this is my favorite portrayal of the actual sword Excalibur. That was the true star of the film, I think. Yeah.
It was like
it was so over the top when they kill things with it. But it
Yeah,
was
I
kind
think-
of fun.
it was fun, yeah.
It was fun.
It looks like a video game.
To be honest, I kind of wish that was like, okay, like if you're not gonna do the opening Uther shit, then you know what? I'm totally okay with this like what's called video game Excalibur superpower thing. Because whatever. At this point, it's like I'd rather be entertained. You know what I mean? This is not gonna be a good film.
yeah, if it was like if the rest of the movie was more like the opening, I would have been more down with it. Like basically this like Mjolnir level fucking like weapon of like this crazy powerful whatever shoot lightning. I don't care. Like that would have been dope. But I think the rest of the movie really kind of clashed with the tone of where it's like again it's like street level Arthur. It has like just it felt weird because then it's
yeah,
like
it's
suddenly
elements.
it's like insanely powerful where it's like causing a fucking tornado and it's like what like I don't know.
Like the tone just kept
Well,
switching.
yeah, it's-
like it goes from super high concept fantasy to literal Guy Ritchie film.
Like a
Well, I was
super
gonna.
high concept fantasy, and it's
I-
just like what?
I have a question for you guys. Do you think this movie could have committed more to street or like to gangster King Arthur? Do you think that maybe this movie would have worked in a modern time and have it just be like, fuck it, modern retelling of King Arthur, and it takes place in like a neighborhood somewhere?
What's Excalibur, like an AK-47?
Yeah, that was my thought. I was like, Excalibur would be like a gun or something.
I think that'd be
No,
terrible.
that'd be dumb.
Oh,
That'd be
that'd
real
be
dumb.
dumb. I parted the feel, Arthur.
What you're proposing right now is basically the Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet.
And I know, but if anyone, fuck it, why not? Like,
And the thing is, I think like there has, and if it's modern time, I think it has already been a great modern adaptation of the Arthurian lore, and that's the Kid Who Will Be King.
Have not seen it.
Oh,
Though.
what's
I've
it
not
called?
seen it.
Yeah, I almost watched it this week, but I was fucking burnt out.
Yeah, it's like once again, this is a week to week of what's it called. Philip mentions the film and it's like, oh, no one's watched it. Just kidding. But what's it called? It's yeah, it's like so. Yeah, I think for me at least, the appeal is the setting, the era, and I really like the aesthetic. Of
Yeah, I'm
that
all
time.
for like medieval fantasy. That's what I go to see a
King Arthur movie
thing
for,
Yeah.
So,
And then
yeah.
mixing in Guy Ritchie's snatch sensibilities
It-
with this, it's interesting. I'll give it that. It's interesting.
it
and
doesn't
entertaining.
always work, but it sure as fuck makes it fun to watch.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
think.
what's the Arthur retelling is like mourning to the guy?
To-
who-
yeah, that was
the
fun.
Black
A
Legs.
joke
Yeah.
coming
The
on.
Black Legs.
You ask a Viking. Like,
I
I,
like
I don't
that.
know.
Yeah.
No, that was a great scene. Well, another thing we skipped over
Which is
it.
very
I,
Guy Ritchie.
I
Yeah.
really liked the montage of Arthur growing up.
Yeah, which is
I
great.
thought
Yeah.
it like.
It speeds up
Yeah,
the origin story.
you know exactly who he is without like by the time he speaks his first line of dialogue.
Yeah, he's a bit scummy, but he's at least like honorable a bit, you know. Like,
Yeah,
he's
and,
got
like,
some of a code or something, you know.
He's done what he's had to do to survive in the world that he was given.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
it's like the most character development he'll get. And
Yeah.
Just kidding, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I do kind
I
of
agree
wish
with
we
that.
could have seen a little bit more, but I do agree that was an effective montage of him just growing up and he hides his like cash in like a box.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he gets more and more
His
boxes
yeah,
coffers.
more
full
and
of
more
cash.
bigger boxes.
Yeah.
My coffers.
And then like he's getting beat by people, and then eventually he's able to like save the women of the
Dude,
brothel.
Charlie
Yeah.
Hunnam is fucking ripped. in
Yeah.
Oh
this.
yeah.
yeah, he's
Apparently he
super
did
cut.
1,000 push-ups a day or some shit like that. Like
Yeah.
that's insane.
Because he said he's normally like a very skinny guy, and he said that like it was just
Oh yeah,
weird, 'cause
you
I've
know
always
about
seen
the
him,
whole
like, really
thing was
big.
that Guy Ritchie kept apparently making comments like, "You're not ripped enough. You're not ripped enough. Come on, Charlie Hunnam, hit the gym." And that's where the famous like, "I'll fuck up Henry Cavill and show you."
it was just hilarious. I would love.
That would have been an interesting fight to see them like like a Justice League or whatever, like giant Henry Cavill versus like
Jax Teller from Sons of Anarchy.
yeah, buffed up Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah, my God, I could see that. That would be fun to watch.
They should make a DC movie about it.
I would love to see a Guy Ritchie DC film. I don't think it would be good. It would be hilarious as
No.
fuck. I
I don't even know what character you would have to give him.
just give him anything.
Batman.
It'll be bad. But I would enjoy
Explain your
watching
morning,
this.
Batman. I started out in Gotham.
You know
Yeah,
what?
for
Beat
some
the
reason-
shit out of this guy.
Everyone's Cockney for some reason.
I'll say this: I would love to see a Guy Ritchie Batman film. I don't think it'll be good. Once again, I know it won't be good.
Yeah, like
But
I'll
it's fucking
say,
entertaining.
like yeah, of all the Guy Ritchie movies I've seen, they've all been
Hey,
at the very
he's
least
good with
entertaining.
detective characters. He could do a real detective Batman thing.
Yeah, from I've only seen what Rock and Rolla, the Sherlock Holmes movies, and this now, but like yeah, they've always been fun. They're at least fun.
Yeah, and it goes straight to the action. So let's get to the next plot point where, as he's escaping from people trying to arrest him for dealing with the Vikings and whatever.
Yeah.
he gets
He gets sent off to because the kingdom is trying to find
The
Uther's
rightful
heir.
heir. Yeah.
And so they send him off to go like with hundreds of other men.
To like try to lift the sword. Which, by the way, this like super fucking weird rendition of how people have to pick up Excalibur, I really liked. It felt almost, even though this technically takes place in the past, this felt like dystopian future, like of just like boats coming in and like men who are basically prisoners. Like, all right, go see if you're the one. Lift up the sword. It was such an odd choice that I really liked it. You know what I mean by it had like a dystopian future kind of angle to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Although I will say, once again, I don't know why this is so hard to pull off. I didn't feel that epic when he pulled the sword.
And this is where I agree with you, and so does Apple. So
Yeah.
that's it called. I think out of pretty much out of all the adaptations, this one was pretty much the most what's it called?
Epic.
Grand or epic. Or I don't want to say. It's weird. I don't know why I don't want to say that word. But yeah, it's the most epic or grandiose of all the other ones. Because this one, as he's pulling it, he receives memory of this. What's it called? Haunted past.
Reminded me of Force Awakens.
I disagree with you there too, because that did feel like pretty big, like when he's pulling it out, and like the big shockwave, which is why I felt like that for the first moment it felt appropriate, but then later it felt goofy. But like for there when he's like first pulling it out and it like knocks him out because of the power, I was like, oh yeah, that was pretty cool. Like
I
like
just
that.
I don't know. I like thematically I think it didn't land for me. When I went into this movie, I expected that to be like,
The final
turning into the third act. He finally gets the sword.
Oh yeah,
but like, 20 minutes in, he's just like, yeah.
Well, it seems to be. It's normally the inciting
this
incident.
movie has themes.
Well,
Yeah.
I had that thought before I watched it.
Yeah.
Right?
Street smarts matter, dude. That's what this movie's trying to say.
Oh, yeah, like so. What were you about to say before?
Oh, I was gonna say that like pulling the sword seems to be the inciting incident for most of these movies, rather than the big thing that happens at the end.
Yeah.
Although I would like to see a small time movie where the big thing at the end is he pulls the fucking sword. Why not? Whatever.
Like him finally becoming
becoming King Arthur.
Yeah.
It feels,
I mean,
it just feels like it's something the character should earn rather than just having it.
Well,
but
to be fair, I mean, like
I know
a lot of times. I mean, well, and then again, in Arthur and lore, him pulling the thing it just automatically makes him king too, which is like I always had a problem with. I'll be honest. But this one, I at least give props where like he has a sword, but he doesn't become king, right? He just has the ability
he has to earn it.
He has to earn it. What's it called? He has to be able to tame Excalibur.
Which I like that.
Yeah.
King Arthur should have had face tattoos. Street Arthur.
Yeah, it says damaged.
Yeah.
Joker.
No, what would it say? What would it say? What would it say? Really quick. If he had a face tattoo, what would it say?
Oh, what's it called? If he had it at the pub. What is it called?
Excalibur.
Yeah.
Oh, what's it called? So he pulls Excalibur from Stone. Vortigern was like, "Oh shit, you're my nephew," but instead of family reunion, he's like, hey, "Time to execute."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he once again to prove how evil he is. He kills an innocent woman in front of Arthur to show how serious he is about the whole effort. And yeah, and then and then he's saved by the unnamed female mage who never gets a name in the entire film.
I was like, okay, so she Merlin, what's going on here?
I think
She was
I read
originally
they
supposed to be
were-
Guinevere.
Yeah, I
she
think
was
they're
like
setting her
Guinevere.
up to be Guinevere. That's the only reason I can imagine them not
That
saying
was,
her name.
Yeah, that
right?
was the original. They originally had it, but they didn't want to introduce Guinevere in this film, so they just
cut her name out.
cut her name out. That's really what happened.
So dumb. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was like, I'm not really feeling any like chemistry between them
Yeah.
or anything.
No,
They're just
there's
like-
a few times he tries to flirt with her, and she's just like, "Fuck you, man."
Which I like too. I like that kind of subversion. So.
Yeah, and there was technically no romantic interest. For
No,
me,
not
which is,
really.
I think I'm glad. I'm honestly glad.
It works.
Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah, it's okay.
I'm
You did-
amazed that it wasn't thrown in here with the 15 other scripts, though.
But
Yeah.
her nearly dying though is kind of what sets him off to like finally put his hands on the sword. We'll get to that later. But
See, and once again, that feels like from another script. It's like
Yeah.
that's Guinevere. It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Emotional thing. Oh gosh. So it's so the female mage saves with Sir Bedivere, played by Jumon Hansu. Surprising, there's no we do get Percival, but that's way at the end.
Mhm.
But all the big names like Galahad or Lancelot.
Wait, who was
not here.
Percival?
Percival was just one of the side members.
Just one of the
Yeah,
guys.
he's just there.
And they say,
Okay.
"Okay, I knight you, Sir Percival."
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Well,
I'm like,
he was in that cave with them. He just really didn't have any lines.
yeah.
He was just like, "This is Percival." And everyone- Hi.
Which one was Percival in this? I'm trying
It
to.
doesn't matter.
It
Okay.
really doesn't matter. I mean, even the guy Kingsley Benadier, who was recently getting One Night in Miami, who plays Wetstick, the black dude.
Yeah.
He
Mm.
becomes Sir Tristan at the end. I'm like, how did he go from Wetstick to Sir Tristan? How did you guys come up with that name?
Well, I don't think his name was actually.
I know
Wetstick.
exactly, but were they just trying to hide? He was actually kind of like in Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah,
where they're like,
Robin.
Robin. Oh fuck! I couldn't have been Dick Grayson. But yeah, so yeah, he gets that, and then
Because Robin sounds better than him saying "dick."
yes. So so as a result, he can't control Excalibur, even though he's a great fighter. So as a result, Guy Ritchie pulls another script out and say, "Okay, where can it go this time? Dark Lines, that's a cool script. All right, let's go there." And to be honest, Dark Lines, it's a really fucking cool thing. but should have been his own fucking movie.
You know,
Yeah.
it's so fucking weird that I was like, all right, moving on. Like, it's like this. It's like a whole movie condensed into fucking 5 minutes, and I was for it.
Dude,
Yeah.
there's so much
Kind
cool
of.
shit in there. Like,
Yeah,
all
it
this-
was just like, oh, they're building up the Darklands, man. You don't want to go in there. It's gonna be crazy. Like, dude, it's gonna be like you're gonna change. It's gonna be like this whole thing, and then he just montage his way through. He's like, all right, I'm back. It's just like,
there's like
okay.
a scene where he's like swinging the sword and like yelling. It's like, ah!
And he still didn't learn like the full extent of what he was trying to learn.
Well, that's because thematically it works better at the
Yeah,
end,
well, I
so.
guess
Yeah,
like, it
'cause
should have
he's
been.
trying
That
to
should have
avoid his
been.
past.
That should have been the big thing of where like, oh, this is where he confronts it. This is where he has to deal with it and power through. And he comes out, and now he's King Arthur or Arthur for real. But like, no, he comes out pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess
Hey.
he did confront his past a little bit. He did put his two hands, and he was experiencing.
He starts.
Yeah.
He starts.
He was
the journey.
experiencing
And then
it.
he does come out of there and he says, "I'm gonna kill him." So
He starts.
that's
his-
when he's like, "I'm gonna fucking."
It's him
go after
starting
my
the
uncle.
journey to
Yeah.
I
to
guess
fix
so.
everything.
But
But
it's
what
like
I'm saying is, it shouldn't have been like,
in Darklands.
yeah, that should have been, I don't know, something else, man.
There's a
Like,
storyline of Arthur becoming the king with this Darklands, where it's probably about another person trying to survive the
It's like
Darklands.
later when he slits the guy's throat, the Blue's dad or whatever. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that should be more than reason enough at this point for him to want to kill him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Whatever.
What's his name again? Oh, it was Black. Oh, that's such a stupid name. Oh my god, we're gonna get into that bit. Yeah, and then after that, Arthur and his men do guerrilla attacks against Vortigern, and they establish that Aiden Gillen, fucking Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, Goose Fat Bill, right? That's his name.
Goose fat.
Yeah.
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 Goose fat.
We find out that he's an amazing archer. I was like, what?
And
I
he's
was like-
also got beef with like one of the.
yeah, it's one of the sheriffs.
I remember like that being jarring. Like, man,
was-
that should have been set up like a few scenes ago or something.
it was
He's
like-
just like, no, I'm gonna fuck up this whole mission because I want to kill this guy.
Yeah, Earl of.
And for some reason, everyone was just like, "Yeah, I get it."
Yeah, be like, no, bro,
Yeah.
wait 5 minutes and we can just end this.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm fine with character flaws being the downfall. That works very well in Infinity War with Star-Lord.
Yeah.
But you have to establish the emotional weight first. Why does he hate this guy? What did he do?
I think
It was
would-
probably in one of the scripts. I don't know.
I think it would have made more sense. It was the is it the Black Lads or something? The what's it called, another Game of Thrones actor, gosh, the leader of the Black Lads who Arthur talks in the beginning.
yeah, fucking Bruce Bolton guy.
Yeah.
I forget his name.
What's it called?
Whatever. Yeah, they should have fucking killed him because he'd actually interacted with them
Yeah,
before
'cause
and he captured Goose Fat.
Exactly, he's the one who arrested Goose and probably tortured.
He
him
never
too.
comes back, right?
No,
Like,
he never
Nope.
comes back. I thought like he would.
And he was good. I liked him.
He
was
was like one of
probably
the best
would've
scenes
been
in the movie.
Exactly. It probably would have been better if he was the Earl of Mercia and that one that Goose Fat Bill kills. But like I said, 6 different scripts. So, yeah, and that happened. That gets ruined, and they're all about to be trapped. They're all about to be killed. But what happens as what's it, the Chinese Bill or something? What's his name?
George.
Chinese George, right?
I think did they call him? I thought they just called him.
They call him
George.
Kung Fu George.
Kung Fu George. Kung Fu George. Yeah. See, I can't even be offended by this movie. It's just so over the top. So when you were talking about how in a movie with a character called Kung Fu George.
How did that fly?
Like that's why when there's something like that happening, when he
Do you want
went,
Guy Ritchie to apologize to you?
no, fuck no. I honestly like that he doesn't give a fuck. It worked for me when he went Super Saiyan with the Excalibur. Because you know
Yeah.
what? This is a movie with a guy named Kung Fu fucking George.
Yeah, and this is the infamous Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
I remember, like, at this point, I was like, "Holy fuck!" Like, because I was expecting for some reason, like, I was like, you know what? I bet you the action's gonna be great, and then it's like the Flash, like in
Yeah.
fucking Justice League, and he's just like fucking people up, and all this crazy shit is going on, and I was like, this looks like Mortal Kombat to me, like the video game, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just like the fast movement and shit, and it's like, whoa,
And I'll be honest,
and yeah,
It works.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I also love the music in that scene.
I-
Just
Yeah.
the drums fucking
Oh,
going.
the
dude.
music in general in this movie is so weird.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like hard rock, old timey music
Yep.
blended together.
My favorite of
I
the-
like it though.
Yeah, my favorite of the music was like the opening sequence where it's like it sounds like Celtic singing over like like I was like that was cool. The rest of it was again really weird. It was like some scenes it worked, other scenes were like
It was like if you went to see a rock band.
And then there's scenes where like there's a guy like breathing into the sound. It's just like why?
Oh, you mean that when they're talking about the montages? That yeah.
And that felt like video game music too. Sometimes they're like, did you guys ever play Jack 2 by any chance?
Yes.
Do you remember
Fantastic.
whenever like action starts, it starts to go.
Yeah.
That was exactly what the fuck happens in this movie. So I think that Guy Ritchie owes some respect to Jack 2.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure he was like
Really thinking about that.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
he
gonna
has,
get some
He has like
Jack
a big
snare.
PS2 collection. He's like,
Yeah.
When are we
You know
gonna
what?
get
There's a
Jack
bit of
2
Sly
adaptation?
Cooper in here as well. I think
oh, serious?
running from rooftops,
What's it called? No, it's
running on rooftops.
He's
the.
flying on rooftops.
Did that movie ever come out? Sly Cooper?
What do you mean? What?
Oh no, it got canceled.
Yeah, but
was
there
a
was like
movie?
a
There was
fucking
a movie.
there was a trailer.
Yeah, but
What?
it got canceled because Ratchet and Clank the movie failed. The game did well, so they were just like, we'll just make another game instead.
All right, let's back to this.
Yeah, back
So,
to
okay, so
I don't know. That sequence didn't work for me though, personally. And, like
The sword.
the big scene where he's using Excalibur. I was like, it
At
looked
that-
really
at-
bad
At
to
that
me.
point, it had already gone off the rails
Yeah.
so hard that
shit,
the addition of this was like, cool.
Yeah,
What else?
I was
What
watching
else,
it
Guy
for the
Ritchie?
first time, and it was really late at night, and that scene ended, and my jaw was kind of like on the floor, and I was like, I'm just gonna finish this tomorrow. Like, it was just like way too much for me to handle in that moment.
I'll be honest, it's exactly what I thought it would be because they were talking about. They said they have a character named Kung Fu George. And then they were already kind of teasing him when he was like when Eric Bana Uther was holding the thing and how powerful he was. He took down a fucking elephant. It's like kind of what I thought it would be, and also to be honest, like when a movie is this disjointed, it has to at least be entertaining, right?
Yeah,
And
It's very entertaining.
And it
yeah,
is.
entertainment. Yeah.
It succeeds in that realm.
unlike Excalibur.
No one can claim that this movie's boring.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And also it being video gamey, like like I said, video game cutscene, I think kind of works for it because they're trying to not even hyper reality. It's non-existent. It's total fantasy, like not
Yeah.
even fantasy. It's like his own dimension of King Arthur adaptations.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it goes from fucking high fantasy to like Guy Ritchie doing his thing, and then we get that scene out of fucking nowhere again. And I'm just like,
Superhero movie.
wow, what?
yeah,
It broke my brain a little bit.
yeah, it was so fun. I honestly was like, yeah, let's get more of this. I was like, to
This
be
is-
honest, you probably should have used more of that more often.
You could like hear the genre bending happening as it's happening. It's just like
Yeah, it snapped. It did not bend. It snapped.
Yeah.
and it happens all the time. But like I said, fuck, you can't call this boring. You can call it a bad movie, and I'm fine with that. But you can't call it boring.
Yeah, I give props to Guy Ritchie. He doesn't give a fuck about his audience. He doesn't give a
Yeah.
fuck. It's like if it doesn't matter about
and
tone.
I was imagining someone walking into this expecting like a King Arthur movie. What is their opinion of this? Like, what is random moviegoer go into this and think? Because this whole thing is like a fucking nightmare, but it's also like hyper stylized in like Guy Ritchie's way. What the fuck is like the general consensus?
It
Like,
has a high cinema score of like A minus and also like a high audience rating. Surprisingly, the audience really liked it. Critics hated it, but
why?
yeah.
Why do critics hate it? It's. I mean, I get
Oh,
why.
okay, come on. Like,
I would give this, but like, I don't know. You have to give this like some credit.
I'll say
have-
this: if the marketing was different, if it marketed, they had one trailer where it was marketed like a Guy Ritchie film, but they had one trailer make it seem like a gritty rated R version of King Arthur, and that's another thing. The rating,
Oh yeah,
it needed to be R. Like if it was
Yeah.
this dark and gritty, I mean, look,
When he's hacking people, like they're just flying around. Those
Yeah.
people would be
Exploding.
in fucking pieces.
That'd have been
Like,
so much more badass.
to be honest,
to see him just like
just
slashing
limbs
and hacking.
everywhere.
Yeah.
After seeing James Gunn the Suicide Squad, I would totally fucking love to see James Gunn do like this type of King Arthur film. Oh my gosh.
Stay tuned for Suicide Squad
Yeah.
review coming up
Like
next week.
next
and-
week.
And that happened, and then Black, stupid fucking name, gets killed by Vortigern.
Better than mid-sized sedan.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. Oh,
I sedan.
I know. At least in this one, it makes sense.
Mid-sized caravan.
People had stupid names in this era.
Could you imagine if M. Night Shyamalan had directed this?
Oh, please, no. Oh gosh, everyone's like, so what's your occupation? It's like, okay, so I used to work for the Vikings.
I am the king. I killed your father.
And then you know what? One of the weirdest Lady of the Lake sequences I have ever seen. Remember how he tries to throw away the
Yeah,
Excalibur?
he just throws the sword. It's like Kylo Ren.
Yes, actually.
And then he gets into the mud and dirty grits.
He gets pulled through the mud.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that was.
There's no way to build a system of government.
Yeah, I was like, I remember this is like my third time watching it. I didn't watch it 3 times for this podcast like this week, but I watched it like 2 times before in the past, and the second time I watched it, I was like, because the first time I watched it, I was like, I'm way too sober. Second time I watched it, I was in the right mindset. I'm not gonna say how, but I was in the right mindset. Oh gosh, that scene was great. So weird. So ultimately, yeah, Vortigern captures the female mage in blue, and Arthur and his men raid Camelot. And Arthur once again uses his Excalibur superpowers in this video game sequence, pretty much. There's a scene where he slashes his sword. You remember that bridge?
I really like this scene.
I liked it a lot, actually. It was super fucking fun.
And this is also when like everyone just fucking surrenders to him too.
I would too.
I liked that. I liked that they're all just like, this way, sir.
Yeah, I would too. Like, fuck, this guy just he just like airbrushes swords. I mean, airbrushes like arrows. Oh gosh, it's
Yeah, he catches one with his bare hands.
Yeah.
fantastic.
It's ridiculous.
And then we get to Arthur versus Vortigern. And
Well, we
Lame.
skipped over Vortigern's second sacrifice.
Oh, yeah.
that's
Which once again, I like Jude Law a lot, and I will say this: I eternally will always mix up Jude Law and Paul Bettany. They're like the same person. So when I finished this movie, I was like, I had to Google it. Was that Jude Law or was that Paul Bettany? But Jude Law is really good in this. Like, his character gets limited into a very boring role, even though it could have been really interesting. But the scenes where he really has to sell them, I think he does a pretty good job. Like when he's killing his daughter and he's like shaking and he's just like, although it is a little funny, like circumstantially, he's just like, you know the price, and he's like walking up to his daughter. He's like,
I did like the weird tentacle squid eel ladies that were in the pit. I was like, that was
Hercules.
cool.
Dude, yeah, she was so fat.
fantastic.
It reminded me of Ursula, right?
Yeah.
It's very Disney villain, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
I was getting Hercules vibes.
Yeah,
Somehow.
it was like gross, creepy. I was like, I like this. This is cool.
I can't believe they try to market this film to kids.
What the
And
fuck?
that's the reason why it was PG-13, because they wanted kids to watch it too.
So
Just
stupid.
based on that like scene with the 3 serpent ladies. What this kid what fucking nightmares?
It's really, stop trying to make King Arthur for kids. Like it's
it's a very
not.
adult story.
yeah.
Yeah, like there's so many aspects to it that just it's adult, and that's why I think we get to
Yeah.
Green Knight.
So much
that's where it succeeds.
incest.
It's like it's not a fucking kid movie.
Yeah.
No incest in
It
this
is
one.
adult
though.
as hell.
Oh, maybe in the future ones.
Maybe.
If they ever revive this,
Dude,
I would watch
I'd
it.
be down. I'd be
I would
down.
watch it. I honestly would watch
Poor
it.
Charlie Hunnam. You know, he's a huge King Arthur guy. Apparently,
Yeah.
Excalibur is like
He
his
loves
favorite
Excalibur.
movie.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Email us why, Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah, drop a comment.
Drop
you
a
know?
comment, Charlie. And then, by the way, perfect guy for this. I'm kind of sad that this didn't work out.
Yeah, I would love to see more. I
Yeah.
really would.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's finish this.
All
up.
right,
Let's give our
So
final thoughts. Or
Oh,
are we gonna
we
go?
didn't even get into the
Oh.
fight with Arthur and Vortigern.
Oh man,
Okay, so on
That
that
was
one,
bad.
It was really
least
I'll be
bad.
honest,
favorite part of the movie.
I completely disagree with you guys on this one because one, they already established that this is a video game movie. They already established that he holds the sword and he's able to create.
I don't think they
pestilence.
intentionally established it though. It was like
I think Guy Ritchie was like, someone told him, he's like, oh really? Okay, let's just continue. That have you seen the behind the scenes? He is like the most lax guy in the world. Someone tells him something, he's like, okay, let's just do it. Like that's really how he directs films.
How about we
Um,
shoot it like this? Okay.
Yeah, and then what's it called? And look, and also they set him up in the other film with Uther and stuff with that whole. I like the design, like to be honest, like Grim Reaper-esque.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
I like the
It
design.
didn't
of,
look-
it
like,
reminded me of like Dark
ama-
Souls.
It didn't
Yeah,
look
right.
amazing though.
I
No,
don't think,
it-
to be honest,
it-
I don't think it needed to be. Because to be honest, like it's like the thing is this film.
I think it looked good in the first time he showed up. I thought it looked
It's
good
in the
then.
fight scene that it doesn't
Yeah.
look amazing.
yeah, because it's at night and it's like in a dark place or whatever. Like
Yeah.
the first time I was like, all right, yeah, he's like this giant scythe thing, and he's like, yeah, the flaming skull head, and he's giant and buff. I was like, okay, this feels like, again, like the video game final boss kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which was cool, but I don't know. The actual fight itself was so goofy and kind of over the top.
I will say really cheesy, but I do like the scene of him like grabbing the sword from his flashback. Like I thought that was a pretty like cool way to do storytelling. The whole because this is in the fight. The
wasn't bad.
whole his father like because he's seen like we've seen this flashback like 3 times now. His father throws the sword up to like impale himself to protect the sword basically. But he's like, I don't know. And then Charlie Hunnam catches it, but it's like it's like this weird thing where it's almost breaking continuity kind of because it's like in the past.
Vortigern is just chilling on the side.
Yeah. It's very odd, but it worked for me. I liked it.
Yeah, it worked for me too. Because like I said, like this film, like if it had like there's this thing called verisimilitude where they're trying to create some type of level of consistency within the world. They have rules and they have to follow them. Like it doesn't have to be our rules, right, of this world.
Yeah.
But this film established that we have no fucking rules. It's not trying to be realistic. It's hyper reality, and as a result, like I don't really need to care if there's subsurface scattering on the CGI or the hair simulation is accurate, because it's like they don't give a fuck and they're just trying to have fun, and that's why it didn't bother me too much for me. Okay, and then it ends.
Right. Yeah, let's give our final thoughts and our ratings. I'll say I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. It was not nearly as hard to get through as Excalibur. Like it at least got like there were a lot of moments that I really liked. Like the opening sequence was like by far my favorite. Like once I finished the movie, I literally rewound it to rewatch the opening because I was like that was so cool. I was like I just want to see that again. That was awesome. So I don't know. Overall, I'd say like discount. Thing like what was it? The bargain bin. Give it a bargain bin. Like I don't really want to own it, but like that wouldn't hurt.
Even though it doesn't work and it is a nightmare and it's like just whoa, what the fuck? I appreciate it a lot. Like I said, once you start trying to direct all these public domain movies, it seems like an easy way to have a cash grab. This doesn't feel like that. This feels like a movie that he really put a lot into. Oh, yeah. I see the love and craft that was put into it, and I appreciate a lot of what it tried to do. It's weird as fuck. It's not an average blockbuster by any means. It still doesn't work. So last week, I invented a new rating, admirable failure, and I'm going to have to give this one a very admirable failure.
Oh, I like that.
But I could own it, possibly. I don't know. It's hard. Very admirable failure for now.
For what it's worth, I enjoyed a lot of it. Aside from when it started getting to the end, I was just like, nah. I don't know. It was fun. I had fun watching it. I watched it like 2.5 times. It was great. I admit it is not good, right?
Yes.
But I don't know. I'd stream it again. I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't even call it a failure. And bargain bin is like kind of mean to this. So so I'll stream it on HBO Max again, probably. Maybe.
Yeah, I'll probably be watching it again for sure.
Yeah. For me, I have 2 separate ratings. Like the actual for the film, what it is, the quality and stuff like that. It's and the narrative, the Frankenstein nature, video gaming, like the CGI. The CGI is terrible. Don't get me wrong, it is terrible.
At times. I'd say like again that opening sequence.
It fluctuates.
Looked fantastic, and then later it looks like trash.
Yeah, but then and then this is where I get to my second rating. But let me just get my first rating. Yeah, based on that, it's a shit bucket. It's terrible.
Oof.
But
harsh.
For my personal, like how I saw this film, and just like the amount of fun that I have for it, it's on the shelf.
What the fuck?
It's like it's where it's like objectively, it's a shit bucket film, but then for personally, I've like this. Like I said, this is my 3rd time watching this film.
This
and it's so weird and over the top and it's ballsy. I have a fondness for ballsy films. Yeah, I enjoyed the fuck out of it, and I'll probably just rewatch it when I go back home today.
This is one of the hardest movies.
God, don't do that.
This is one of the hardest movies for me to rate. It's an anomaly.
Yeah,
It's not a good movie, but fuck if I enjoy watching it. I really do.
And now that brings us to the Green Knight. I'm really excited to talk about this one. I fucking love this movie. I'm sorry I'm leading with that, but like, let's keep talking about this. All right, Green Knight. Here we go. Directed by David Lowery, known for Ain't Them Bodies Saints, Pete's Dragon, A Ghost Story. Let me do that again. A Ghost Story, The Old Man and the Gun. Produced by a bunch of other people and written by David Lowery again, based off of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, a medieval fantasy story.
Written by our favorite author, Anonymous.
Yeah, Anonymous went back in time and wrote this. It's pretty crazy. Cinematographer Andrew Draws Palermo, whatever. Palermo.
Oh, big shout out to him. By the way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Holy fucking shit.
MVP.
And edited by David Lowery. He edited it himself, which makes a lot of sense. I think you can really tell how much
This is very personal.
Yeah, it's a very personal story. Okay.
Yeah, it's like brief background on the film's development and production. He decided to make this film after playing. You guys know the film Willow?
Yeah.
Yeah. He has the Willow action figures. He was just playing with it. He's like, wow, what if we did this with the Green Knight? And that's literally what happened. And that's how he did it. He wrote a script. He sent it to the right people. They liked this after. I think like Ghost Story and stuff came out, and then he had a little bit of clout. And Pete's Dragon, so business success. And he got the film made. Kudos to him.
Fuck yeah.
I hope people go out and see it.
What blows my mind about this is, again, we're talking about budget restrictions before. It's $15 million.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
And it is beautiful.
Yeah, and everything.
The
all of it
costume
looks fucking
design,
awesome.
the cinematography, the locations, everything about this movie is gorgeous. And it was made on $15 million.
The makeup for the Green Knight himself,
Yeah.
the practical makeup, that looks fucking sick. And it's like only amplified a bit by like CG to like make him look bigger and shit. Of course, like
Yeah, the Green Knight looks great.
yeah. All right, let's dive more into this shit.
All right, so what is everyone's familiarity with the poem Sir Gawain and the Green Knight?
Well, I read it before this podcast.
Same.
Which version did you read? Like, how long
Tolkien.
was it?
The
Okay.
Tolkien version?
Yeah, I listened to it while I was playing a video game. So.
Oh my gosh!
So
the
I
English
suck.
major
I suck.
in me is like dying on the inside.
I
Oh,
suck.
I think I'd actually heard of the poem previously.
Yeah, I
like,
had
from
to.
someplace else. Like I want to say it was like the YouTube channel. Like
yeah, we talked about it.
overly
last time.
simplified. Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I told you about it. You're like, oh, that sounds cool. I hope they make it into a movie.
Yeah.
I was bring up the story. Yeah. We talked about it, and we kind of pitched our own ideas. Like, oh, what if this was this? We had a more fantastical version of
I
it.
never remember our conversations.
Once again, another week where Philip remembers a cherished memory between Ron.
Ron and Philip, best friends.
You even know him?
What's your name?
What's his? Yeah.
No, okay, but yeah, no, I do remember having like some memory of the story beforehand, but I never actually really knew the full extent of it. I knew basically the summarized version of it, but yeah, diving deeper into it, it's fucking awesome. Like it's so fascinating. Yeah, I listened to like a few like things about it. Like we said, we became I think experts.
Our
over
PhDs
this
are
past
coming in
week.
the mail.
Yeah. It's fun and it's like the poem itself, the original one, it's a bit hard to get through. I mean, it's written in the
it's
fucking
a little rough. Yeah.
14th century, so it's hard.
I also tried reading that.
You mean the original medieval English version of
Yeah,
it?
not in that. I read a translation that was a little strange. Like it didn't feel.
Even
quite
reading the Tolkien one was a
modern
little
English.
hard to get through.
That one has like the most alliteration.
Yeah,
He
there's a
made it
lot
more
of alliteration.
And then there was one. I think it might be Richard Armitage. I forgot like the guy's name. That's one where he makes it a little bit more like an action film almost.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then he streamlines it a bit. And there's one where it's a super scholarly version. Mary Berryoff is like Northern Critical Edition. That one's like hardcore as fuck. They were like, yeah, you don't understand. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Let me fart in your face with my aristocracy.
Yeah, I listened to the one that was narrated by Terry Jones from Monty Python. So that's kind of a really. I mean, we're talking about King Arthur shit.
Was
anyways,
it
but
the token version?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's an interesting poem. It's like every time kind of get into it, there's always something different taking away, like what the animals mean, depending on the translation or how they do it or how people interpret it. It's even been like talked about in different things, like in the Irish is like it was like, there's more foxes and there was more drinks and alcohol because they're drunks. And like there's a weird Korean version of this where it's like sparrows and swords. Like not, I mean, this has swords too, but like theirs is like weird, Asian shit. Yeah, it's it's a weird poem, and when he announced it, I was kind of hesitant because, not saying I'm like a super fan of this poem and stuff, but it is something that like I do enjoy, and I honestly found it hard for this poem because it's really just he meets the Green Knight, he goes to the castle. He meets the Green Knight again at the chapel.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's hard to adapt, but he definitely pulled it off. But also,
In a punk rock way.
made it very much his own thing.
Yeah.
And we were talking about adaptations last week about M. Night Shyamalan. This is how you fucking do it.
Yeah.
He added his own creative spin, his own thoughts and ideas, and he also
But he didn't
left
take
it,
away anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
absolutely. Like it felt very authentic to the poem. Like you can tell that down to the details, to like the pentagram, like and like I don't know. There's so many things there that he knows the shit what he's talking about here. But he obviously added his version of it, what he thinks, how he accepted it. But it left it open to like more interpretation, and you can still argue at the end, like.
That's a whole conversation.
Yeah, not
in
jumping at
itself.
the end, but like you can still argue what the end really even means, which is great. Yeah.
What are you guys' familiarity with David Lowery, like his films and stuff like that?
I've been meaning to watch A Ghost Story for since it came out.
Me too.
I haven't seen any of his stuff
Yeah,
before
neither
this.
have
I know people love Ghost Story though, and I really want to check it out.
A Ghost Story is, I think, his. Well, no, not excluding this one. Because I don't want to say to ruin my opinion, but it's his best film, but definitely his most boring. I mean, I remember there's like this 8 minutes.
Oh, the pie scene, right?
Yeah, 8-minute pie scene, which it works, it's effective. But rewatching yesterday, I was like, oh shit! Like, I literally had my dog like fart in my eye or something to like fucking stay awake. Yeah, he's very interesting. All his films have to do with mythology and the way public reacts to it. His first film, Ain't Them Body Saints, is like basically it's. Have you guys read The Odyssey?
No,
Or are you guys
but
familiar with that?
In high school.
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
mean, shit.
I don't think we read the whole thing. It was just
Excerpts from it,
Yeah.
basically.
The Simpsons adapts the Odyssey that I've seen.
Of course. Hey, it's been a couple weeks since The Simpsons has been brought up.
Hell yeah!
Like Ain't Them Body Saints is pretty much like The Odyssey, where it's about it's like the plot is, for people who haven't read it, it's Odysseus after the events of Iliad and sacking Troy. His whole point, the whole narrative about Odysseus trying to go back home to his family, and his wife is potentially might be suited or raped by other suitors, and he's trying to protect his homeland and all that shit, and his
I
journey
do
back.
remember that aspect of the Odyssey.
Yeah. And Ain't Them
That's
Body
like the whole thing, isn't it?
yeah, pretty much.
Lots of suitors. Lots of suiters.
A lot of suitors. Oh yeah. And Ain't Them Body Saints is pretty much like that, but mixed in with Bonnie and Clyde.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Casey Affleck plays basically a version like an old Clyde version of Odysseus, and there's something that went wrong in the beginning. He's in jail, but now he escaped jail, trying to go back to his Clyde, played by Rooney Mara. And at this point, even Rooney Mara has what's his name, Ben Foster. Ben Foster. No, I mean, well, I'm looking.
I don't
because
know.
you watched the film.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know Ben Foster's a person.
Yeah.
Great actor.
A sheriff played by Ben Foster, who's her suitor, pretty much.
Okay.
And he's trying to get back in his Odyssey back to her and stuff like that. And then you have Pete's Dragon, which is literally about. He constantly mentioned the myth of the Millhouse dragon, or not Millhouse.
From Simpsons?
Basically the town's dragon, and that plays into the thing.
I'm a Millhouse too.
A ghost story. It's people talking about like the ghost itself is the myth, and the old man and the gun. It's the mythology that builds up from. Oh, you guys haven't seen Old Man and the Gun?
No,
My gosh, boys, are you guys film fans? This is Robert Redford's last fucking film.
I don't watch movies.
Oh fuck.
Really?
My gosh. And once again, this is another time where Phil mentions a movie and they're like, yes, everyone
That's
watched it.
because you've seen like everything that's
Yeah, and
ever
you
been
don't
released.
sleep. You just you stay up till like 8 in the morning watching movies.
I thought I was a film guy, but holy fucking shit.
It's like
You're an encyclopedia.
I drive while I'm driving. Like
You watch movies while you drive?
Yeah, I train my body to
that's irresponsible.
I wouldn't say that on the air. You know.
I'm just kidding. But, or like while I'm jogging or something, I like.
How do you fucking watch a movie while you're jogging?
You know,
Yeah.
I do sometimes watch movies when I'm taking a shower. Like I'll literally put it up on the ledge and just like watch stuff.
I can't. I have to be like focused.
When I'm jogging, I'm like like this and like that. Or even when I'm working out, like I have like the something attached to like the glass. And I'm like looking as I'm lifting weights. So like I'm always trying to maximize, or I'm pooping, or I'm eating and stuff like that. What's it called?
I like to sit down, have popcorn, and watch a movie. For
Yeah, I like to do that too, but I used to do that in the past. Now it's kind of hard.
You're like a film junkie.
It's like a drug.
You got a problem.
Are you watching movies again?
Okay, anyways, keep going. We got
Right, but basically, in Old Man and the Gun, that one is also like whenever Robert Redford, that character, is based on a true story. He robs something, he goes to prison and escapes. He's building his myth as the Old Man and the Gun, and this kind of carries on with the Green Knight. That's something he's always fascinated. That's like his wheelhouse, right? Like just like how Zack Snyder likes slow-mo, he likes myth. Yeah, it's an interesting thing, and I think it plays as well. And I think this is to his perfection. This is his best film. Yeah, I think it is. But you guys will still
I
probably
haven't
like it,
seen
though,
anything by him, but I would imagine this
Yeah,
is his best film.
this is fucking top tier.
Yeah, and this is also technically like everything he learned from that film, everything he learned from whatever Pete's Dragon, the visual effects, he brought over here because Pete's Dragon also had like a $54 million budget or whatever, but the CGI dragon was insane. Yeah, I give props to this guy. All right, let's get into the narrative real quick. So, just like the novel, you know, it's Christmas morning.
Although in the novel, wasn't it New Year's?
No, it's Christmas.
No, it's Christmas.
No.
Yeah.
It was hard to.
New Year's was coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's it called? What's it called?
I didn't even read it.
It's a little different from the poem where instead of, you know, he's just like a regular night, he wakes up in a brothel. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he lies to his mom, who's Morgana Le Fay. In the film, they just say mother, but it's Morgana Le Fay.
Yeah, I love how they just don't even tell us the characters that are in this.
They just
Like,
assume that
Yeah.
you know Arthurian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
There's no moment where Arthur's like, "This is the Round Table,"
yeah.
which, by the way, also happens in the last movie we talked about. Sorry.
Yeah. Like this film, and I do respect that he's just like, I think you guys read the poem, and I think you guys know the stuff, which most of us haven't in the audience. And he's just like, yeah, this is King Arthur. You should know who's King Arthur. This is we call her Queen, but she's Queen Guinevere.
Yeah.
Know your shit, you motherfucker. Yeah, and then you know, they say Garwin in the film. Garwin, we meet his love interest Essel. And he's basically, lies to his mom, saying he was at like, you know, a religious service
at church, yeah.
And then he wasn't. And then they have a drink together with, you know, King Arthur and Guinevere and then the round table. And they ask Garwin, you know, if he has any stories to tell. And he doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's kind of true to the poem too, where Garwin is also like an unproven knight, and he's very eager to make his legacy established amongst the other pantheons of knights.
Although in this one, it is quite an intense internal need for him.
Yes.
This is, yeah.
And then what happens? They get a weird ass sequence with his
Some
mother.
weird motherfucker.
Yeah. Her mother was supposed to blindfold, which is important later on, a blindfold on her head. And she's with her other people. It might be her sister, like her other sisters or apprentices or whatever. And they have a ritual where she's like, that's not how they do it.
Just
but-
like that.
Yeah.
And then and they commit a ritual, and as soon as that happens, you have the Green Knight that appears before King Arthur and his round table. And it was fucking badass.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
awesome. It felt just like in the poem where he just comes in immediately. He's got his axe right there, and he's holding up the little bundle of holly, which is cool because I know that has a lot of symbolism behind it. They still argue to this day exactly what the holly's supposed to mean. Obviously, there's like a lot of connections to Christmas, but even back to like pagan holidays, the green, the evergreen of the leaves as they stay green throughout the winter, which is very important because like winter is time for death and whatever, but it stays green throughout. Like, is it to show like hope, perseverance, and the redness of the berries, which has been interpreted in different ways to represent either the sacrifice or blood that needs to be paid or given in order for like the new spring to like come forth. It's like that's It's very cool. And also there's some beheading imagery there from because this is like a Celtic tale possibly where it comes from, or at least some influences from there. I guess in Nordic mythology, Loki actually chops the head off of, I think I forget which it's like Balder, I think, who's like unkillable guy, but he cuts off his head using holly because for some reason that's his weakness. I don't know why. So there's some elements at play there. Again, it's all up for interpretation, really, but it's very cool. He just boom walks in. Awesome.
People who play God of War will like this.
Oh yeah.
I remember thinking, speaking of Skyrim, I was like, oh, that's Shadowmere, the horse that he rides in on.
Oh yeah, dude, that horse is nice.
That's a gigantic green horse.
And that whole sequence is like, so atmospheric. It's like, as you see the silhouette and he comes in. Sound design's fantastic.
Dude,
Yeah.
when he moves, it sounds so good.
It doesn't have the coconuts from
Yeah.
the Holy Grail, but
Sounds like a big ass horse is walking through.
it's like it's fantastic. It's like, I imagine I'm not even gonna be surprised. I know they had other sound engineers on this, but I'm not surprised because he had a whole year to edit this film again.
Yeah.
That if he added his own in his own editing software, added his own sound design too, which is perfect. I think this was like a passion project for him.
Yeah, definitely.
And and then he issues his challenge where it's like, basically one strike to him and then he repays it in kind a year from now. And then Arthur, who is sickly as fuck at this point, this is probably the third act of Excalibur. Right?
Yeah.
This is actually
Yeah.
probably a secret.
Yeah.
Percival is out looking for the Holy Grail right now. Like,
This is probably like a low key tie into Excalibur film. You have to watch this to understand Excalibur. And then plot twist, Dev Patel rips off his face as Liam Neeson. So and then he's very sickly. Obviously he can't take the challenge. He looks to his knights like, do you guys want to do this? And they're all cowardly as fuck. And
Well, I wouldn't say
understand.
cowardly. I'd say smart.
Yeah.
Not don't have something to prove.
yeah,
'Cause
they understand.
what the fuck they're getting themselves into. Because the most important part of this scene for me is the fact that Dev Patel walks up. He's kind of cowardly, but he's also putting on a front that he's like Mr. Badass Man. And he says, always remember what you've seen here. It's like, what have you seen? A guy bows down and gives you the hit. Like, there's nothing inherently badass, heroic, or impressive about any of this.
And he was.
Oh no, I think also that was trying to remove culpability, right? That this was a dishonorable kill.
Yeah.
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 Because he literally
True.
just bows down and goes, if you want to chop my head off, do it.
Yeah, and again, it diverges again for the poem because Sir Gawain is already known as being like an honorable knight.
Yes.
He's known for being very truthful and what's it called? Like his troth is very important to him. And so like this is like such a mind fuck where the guy just comes out. He's like, all right, you hit me first. And he's like this feels weird. And he's like, yeah, here, cut off my head, do it. And he's like, this feels really fucking weird.
Yeah.
But at that point, he's not really so much trying to prove anything, but he is just trying to like, I guess, put his best foot forward. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
in,
like,
in the
this-
movie, you could tell he's so uncertain, and he feels. You can tell he feels like uncomfortable. Like, I don't want to like make myself look bad in front of all these fucking knights and the king. And he's just like, I don't know. I'm just gonna fucking do it, and he just does it without really thinking through what the fuck's going on.
And that's what I'm saying. But he's also trying to prove, like he's trying to prove something. And I love that fact that he said that line adds so much to me. Everybody, no one forget what you've seen here today. And it's like, well, that was pretty easy.
Yeah, you didn't really do anything.
You didn't have to
Like,
sword
what-
fight him.
I mean, obviously the movie would be ruined, but
Yes.
it'd be kind of cool if you just like booped him on the nose or something.
it's like, all right, cool.
Well,
see
that
you
would
in
have
Lear,
spared him a
man.
lot of suffering.
Oh yeah, that would be. But Garwin is not that smart, right? He was a smarter character. Yeah, I honestly I was thinking something like just slap the face. Just say return the slap. What's it called? That wouldn't be too bad. But yeah, it was great. I think like even in the poem, like like as you're talking about, like in the poem he's an honorable knight. He even has like a sword with a shield with the pentagonal with the 5 points of a knighthood and stuff like that, which we'll get into.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
that
very
was-
important.
And I think he has what's his name, Mary on there too,
Yes.
right? Which is also very important. I think later when you see his shield again, I was like, oh, this I think is where the movie really tries to diverge. But yeah, I like that he shows up, and in this interpretation, he is unproven, right? So it gives him that extra motivation to be the one that decides to step up when everyone's like I don't know, man. Like,
Well,
we don't know what the fuck this is
this
supposed to
movie,
be.
at this point, I thought it was going to be about imposter syndrome, but then you realize, oh no, he is an imposter.
Yeah.
Because like at that point, I was like, okay, so he's just feels like he hasn't made his mark, so he's going to sign up for this ridiculous quest. And you're like, but I'm sure he's heroic and brave. And then the movie happens.
Yeah. And yeah, pretty much he chops off the Green Knight's head with one clean stroke. But, just as Garwin is thinking to himself, like, yeah, look at me, oh, fuck, yeah. But, the Green Knight goes with his head. And then, pretty much.
I love how he just starts laughing, riding away, holding his like
Which
you
is great.
fucking idiot.
Dude,
He's like, this is the move you made?
oh, it's Ralph Ineson, right?
Who is
Yeah.
awesome,
Dude, he is
dude.
great. He's oh gosh.
Fantastic casting. He's got the fucking
perfect
voice.
He's got the voice, dude.
of a
He was so fucking
pagan
good in
god.
The Witch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was
So good.
The Witch. What's it called? It's gosh, and it's fantastic. And he leaves, and then he also, and then like did he speak to Guinevere? He speak to Guinevere through the letter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He speaks to which is different from the poem because the Green Knight normally just spoke himself in his like
Just like-
big booming voice, but in this one it went through her.
And it was
which-
creepy as fuck.
yeah, which is really cool.
I think that might have been a nod to the poem, because one of the reasons why Morgana, which spoiler, but I guess this whole film was spoiler, she summons the Green Knight to torment Guinevere because she really has a big distaste for her and hatred towards her. And one of the reasons why the Green Knight is one, potentially to as a test for her nephew. In the original poem, his nephew.
Yeah.
For his knighthood and stuff like that. And the other reason is just to scare the fuck out of Guinevere. Yeah, so I think like that was a good like nod to it. I'm assuming David Lowery, who probably listens to every single episode.
Yeah.
Please
Hey,
comment.
drop a comment, Davey.
David,
Yeah.
we'll give you permission to speak on our panel if you're in for it. We'd love to talk to you about the Green Knight.
What's it called? And yeah, and then year passes by. People constantly retell Garwin's battle with the Green Knight with the little puppetry, which is super creepy.
Oh, I
and
love
it.
the
Yeah.
puppets.
Yeah.
That was so cool. Everyone watching it, just like, yeah, okay. And I like
Oh
that
my
their
God, I love-
expressions too, as like they're watching, and then later when
It's
gets
the other way around.
he gets his head chopped off, everyone's like, oh yeah. That
I
probably is
love
gonna
that.
happen.
That the first half, it's more like he's a legend now. Everybody loves him. And then the second half, it's like Dev Patel getting his head chopped off, and everyone's like, ooh.
Yeah. And then it's simple showing transition of time with the puppetry.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the dial on there. Yeah, that was great.
So M. Night Shyamalan and John Borman, this is how you show transition of time.
If John Krasinski directed this movie, would he play the Green Knight or would he play Garwin?
He would play
both.
Garwin.
What are you talking about?
was
He
in King
died in
Arthur.
Quiet Place Part 1, but he somehow wrote the film in Quiet Place Part 2 to include himself in it. Fucking John Krasinski, piece of motherfucking shit.
Oh my god.
I'm just kidding, John. I hate you. So now this is, I guess, where we could kind of go into themes where and basically this is probably the most obvious interpretation of the film is that in this interpretation Morgana is the mother
Yeah.
instead of Morgas, and what's it called, and it's very obvious that she's the one who summoned the Green Knight and has this whole quest that basically she summoned the Green Knight and created this whole endeavor, possibly working with Arthur. That part's like little left to interpretation for her son to basically hit the 5 points of knighthood.
It's a game.
It's like and but I love what's it, Sean Harris's like his voice for
Tell me a tale of thee or whatever. Yeah, he's got an awesome voice. He's just like he plays old, tired King Arthur so well. Is it so bad to want greatness for thee?
I'm sorry,
I love when he's like, my tooth hurts.
I'm sorry to jump to the end, but I do love in the Vision fantasy scene, or you know what I'm talking about, the Vision scene that it happens at the ends. I like that like Dev Patel just wakes him up in the middle of the night to get knighted, and he's like, oh, fuck.
Goes back to sleep.
He's just like knights him and goes back to bed.
that's hilarious.
King Arthur is eating like tomato soup and just like old and watching Jeopardy.
Gosh, Sean Harris. What's it called? So basically, she did this so that he could potentially become Hopefully, because she was dissatisfied with how he was leading his life.
Well,
to this
yeah,
point.
he's this like drunken loser that's getting drunk on Christmas and maybe fucking prostitutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure, fucking
For sure.
prostitutes.
And then he's not virtuous at all, as we see later on.
Well, yeah, if you want to do are we going to go through the entire plot or you want to just get into themes?
Let's just by going through the themes, I think we'll eventually hit all the plot
Because
points.
Yeah.
the main theme I see in this movie is failure. Every single chapter of this movie is him being presented a chance to to prove himself to be virtuous, and in every single instance he fails.
Yeah.
I remember I had a disagreement with Ronald because you had a different perspective on the Lady of the Lake scene.
Yeah.
That was definitely
You mean
a failure.
wait, is it Winifred?
Well, the woman in the that's in the lake.
Oh,
the
Yeah,
sorry.
headless
Winifred.
lady.
Yeah.
Winifred, yeah.
Like I thought that was his only actual like test that he passed
But it
when he
wasn't.
decides to give back her head. But no, I
But
think
no,
Blake
yeah.
he brought up a good
Yeah,
point.
because
No, he failed.
He
Yeah.
asks her, "What's in it for me?" And she even says, "Why would you ask me that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
So-
help me."
So let's get into the 5 points, the pentagonal points of knighthood, which are all like pretty much that's like the plot of the film.
Yes.
Yeah. So like the 5 points are, and one of them could be is the synonyms for this, but generosity, courtesy, chastity, chivalry / fellowship. So basically friendship and piety.
And he
And he
fucks
fails.
all
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He fails every single one, and he doesn't even realize he fails
Yeah.
until the end.
Yeah,
And
he does eventually.
He does eventually,
Yeah.
but while doing it, he's just he's like this aloof fucking idiot the whole movie. and it's kind of it goes into like I don't know, you see the trailer for this or you see the poster and I'm like, I can't wait to watch Dev Patel be a hero, and it's like halfway through the movie you're like, oh wait a minute.
Yeah.
Because I remember so I guess we'll get into the first section, which is he's like talking to like the kid from Killing of a Sacred Deer,
The scavenger, right?
the scavenger, and then
Fucking kills it. By the way,
Yeah,
he's
well,
so good.
watch
Yeah.
Killing of a Sacred Deer. He's a huge force in that movie.
Yeah.
But so I guess that's almost two failures in one. Is the first failure? He's like so. What's the word? Not sympathetic to this guy who lost his entire village, and like he's talking about like, well, yeah, my two brothers just got killed, and he's just like, yeah, whatever. Where's the Green Chapel? And then he's like, is my opinion or is my direction not worth anything? And he like flips him a coin. So that's like failure number one. But then failure
Generosity.
number
Yeah.
yeah, generosity. But also it's a failure that he's able to like beat up by a kid basically.
Yeah.
Like, and the whole time you're expecting, okay, how's he
Get out of it.
yeah, you're thinking like, okay, is he playing the long game? But no, he's just like totally incompetent as a knight, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
And I love when he first meets him and he's on this horse and he's walking beside him.
That shot's amazing.
It's
though.
it's really good. But I love how he's like playing it up like, yeah, I'm a fucking knight. Yeah, I'm awesome. And then he just gets like trapped by a kid and it's just like, you're not who you think you are. Bro.
Right.
no.
Really quick though. Yeah, you're talking about the scene when he's first leaving the kingdom.
No.
But okay. But right before that, there is a scene of him leaving the kingdom.
Yeah, when
And
the kids are following him.
but he's just like, he's acting all like pompous and like, fuck yeah, I'm a legend.
He doesn't
And then,
even acknowledge the kids who are just like, hey, like,
you're a legend.
Yeah.
And then immediately after, he's like terrified.
yeah, his whole posture changes and his face changes. He's just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
And he also starts to lose things. Like he loses his like badass art or like knight armor, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And then
Yeah, he
his,
loses the
his
axe,
girdle.
he loses the
axe,
shield, he loses
yeah.
everything like 4 minutes into his
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let's mention one of the most important items, the green girdle.
Yeah, the
that
axe.
his mom gives him to him.
Oh, no. The
girdle.
sash?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the green girdle. The that his mom says that will protect him from any harm. And by the way, I love that scene when she gives it to him and she's like, "If you come back," he was like, "If."
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a great way to show character of like his cowardice, right?
yeah.
Which is again his mom giving him the girdle at the beginning. Big divergence from the original poem where he doesn't
it
get
from
it
the-
till the very
Yes.
end when the lady gives
Lady
it to him.
Birdlick, right?
Yeah, she gives it to him at the end, and that's like one of his. That's like his biggest moment of failure at that point when he decides not to trade it back to the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he gets it in the beginning of this one, which is I think very significant, and it's an interesting choice.
Yeah, and I think it's like just to highlight the fact that to set up the idea that Morgana is the manipulator of all the events that happens.
Yeah.
'Cause there's, if you try to go on a very logical point of view, this is like, he loses the axe, but somehow the axe gets back to him
Yeah.
in the cabin. That doesn't make sense. But if you take it from the perspective that Morgana is the one orchestrating everything, then it probably does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think his shield, again, which is very symbolic of having the pentagram on it and Mary on it and everything, after he gets robbed by the kids and they just smash it right there, like right in front of him, just boom, just break it. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. 'Cause look, if he succeeded the first trial, the generosity,
Uh-huh.
it didn't just give him it gave a coin with asking. It was just only one. And the thing is, and when he asked, it was only one fucking coin.
Yeah.
And also maybe show some like sympathy towards him too.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you.
he was
Oh,
looking at
man.
him as though he was beneath him.
Yes.
Like he
and,
wasn't.
and the way it's shot, of course,
Yeah.
really accentuates that.
Yeah. And it's like literally like he's on a high horse.
Yeah, yeah, literally.
Yeah, which is great. My gosh. So the next thing the Green Knight covers as after his adventure with the scavenger, and he escapes. And by the way, creepy imagery when when a cool pan where it pans away from Garwin and it goes back to him with his dead body, and then
Yeah, it's like a full 360
Oh, yeah.
twice.
Which
It's a
shot,
720 like Tony Hawk.
This is when he fails the first virtue of knighthood, the generosity.
When he's
against the
like
knighthood.
tied up under the
Oh
tree.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which
Tied
I-
on a string indeed.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of like foreshadows later in the film when he kind of envisions what happens if he runs away. It's like, this is what happens if you don't escape. Like, you're just gonna die here and you're just gonna rot away to nothing.
Because of how weird the movie had already been, there was a second where I'm like, like, what's happening? Once you see his corpse, I'm like, if there was going to be a weird ass movie to just kill their protagonist off 30 minutes in, it could be this one.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. What's it called? No, I didn't think so. It was like, I knew it was like probably fake because, because unless the trailer had fake footage and stuff. And
What
yeah.
if the camera just panned to the right and then we just watched like the wilderness for another hour and a half?
Honestly, that would be just like Ghost Story then, part 2. Just like, oh gosh.
It just
Ghost
ends
Story.
there.
A 17-minute scene of a pie eating.
It was long. It was so long. Okay, so basically, yeah. So after he escapes, he loses everything. He loses the green girdle. He loses his horse. He loses his axe that he from the Green Knight. So and he travels by foot and he's able to enter a cabin. A previous resident, Winifred, who was raped and beheaded by other knights or other people, and this is his second test, which is courtesy. Winifred, played by the woman who ruined Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
She did not ruin that show.
I'm joking. It wasn't that.
That
She
show
didn't ruin
ruined
it.
itself.
What's it called? It's not even her fault. It's not even her fault. The character sucks. She's actually a pretty good actress.
Yeah, she was good.
What's it called? So what's it called? Winifred tells Garwin, about her story, and she appears to him as like a ghost, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, and says, "Hey, I got like raped and my head's in the pool. Can you go get it?"
Yeah, go get my head,
And he wants
bitch.
something out of it.
And Garwin, the first thing he responds,
It's actually not the first thing. This is one that he almost passes because he starts to do it and then he pauses and then he looks back and goes, "Oh, wait a minute. Well, what do I get in return?"
yeah. Oh yeah.
And by the way, what did he want in return from a ghost?
Ghost powers.
Either ghost powers or probably sex.
He's like, wait, if I lose my head, can I like at least walk around still, and can we still have sex?
Yeah.
A head for some head?
No, because he's
King Arthur is a cuck.
He's horny as fuck, so I wouldn't doubt it if he wanted sex from like a dead ghost.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? He probably won't even feel it, but just the visuals would be like, oh yeah, baby.
The jerk off material for him.
Yeah. Oh, jerk off material. We'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, he's thinking about it later.
So yeah, she asked like, why would you even ask that, right? And that was like his first fail on the test. Do you guys think that the ghost of Winifred and this whole thing was do you think she was conjured by Morgana?
I think it's really likely, especially because at the end of the test, the axe appears, right?
And
Yes.
also the fox appears.
Oh
who
yeah.
is,
Oh yeah,
we'll get to that.
yeah. So what's it called? And do you guys think? And why do you think Morgana was basically conjured the axe back to where he is? And did he just do it so he doesn't die, or is it just to aid her son?
I'd say it's to help him. I mean, aiding him and preventing him from death are the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I mean, I think you could say that this whole quest thing happened because she wants her son to win glory, right? To like become this like great knight, like the rest of the round table. And she was probably watching, and she was like, "He's really fucking this up," like, you know.
Like, she should have just had another son. Like,
So she probably was like, "Fuck, I gotta give him the axe back because, you know, he's an idiot and he lost it." So
Yeah.
she gives it back to him to again give him more chances. But
Exactly. She's like, either this or I have to fuck my brother again.
Yeah,
Or another
make
kid.
Mordred.
What's it called? I was low-key was wondering, like, because how revisionist this take was, that if Mordred was gonna pop up, Mordred, like, because you know in the original poem, like the Green Knight is Lord Bertolli, and I was like, is it gonna be like a Mordred? And it's like, oh, another 3 hours of the film.
could be.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So after that, you know, and he encounters the fox, right? You know, who looks off already, right? And then we were, what's it called? And then this is where okay, first let's just get out of the way, the debate on the visual effects. All right, so the fox, right? And I am going to, and since we're already talking about this, before I give my take and most likely defense, what did you guys think of the visual effects of the fox? What do you think is the fox's purpose for this narrative? And do you guys think the fox is even real?
I think the fox is real, but I'll just say, as far as visual effects are concerned, first of all, I want to say the rest of this movie looks amazing. It looks really fucking good. Like we said before, the effects and for the budget and everything, I'm very impressed. Even later with the sequence with the giants and everything, like it's fantastic. But if I had to nitpick, the one thing that I think just didn't quite get sold to me, it was the fox. The fox looked pretty fake, in my opinion.
I agree with this.
And it's especially because it comes from Weta Studios, who is known for making such like fantastic effects, like from the Planet of the Apes series and everything. Everything else looked like I expected more from them, and I don't know, the fox just didn't quite work. Just visually speaking.
What about the fox? Let's get the nitty gritty into visual effects. The subsurface scattering, the lighting, what?
I think that it's like its movements. Maybe it's
Defend
movement.
yourself.
The movement
yeah.
was definitely the biggest thing for me. Whenever it was like trotting along, it just, it didn't look natural, and it didn't look like unnatural in like a fantasy sense. It looked unnatural, as in that's a digital fox.
So
Yeah.
why would you say? Why would you guys say so? Do you
I
guys
think
look
even-
up like the way foxes move right after that?
Well, no,
I've seen
you-
what foxes lose.
You know what the uncanny valley is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I follow foxes on Instagram, by the way. Juniper Fox, look it up. It's these very cute foxes, okay? And I know what real foxes look like. But no, I just did say, like, I think it is a kind of that uncanny valley where it does look very realistic. But at the same time, not realistic enough to where I'm just like, yeah, it looks kind of fake. And even like the expressions in the face, and canines in particular have very expressive eyebrows and stuff, so you can really kind of usually see what they're kind of thinking, a little bit. And for me, it didn't quite sell. Like, I'm not saying it was terrible, it didn't ruin it for me. It just kind of took me out for that moment where I was like, I don't know if it really worked. But besides that, it was fantastic, and I like the fox being there because foxes are cool. Like I said, I follow them on Instagram.
What about you, Blake? What's your opinion on?
I don't hate it nearly as much as you two.
I
say.
don't hate it.
I don't know why you guys are gonna put it in the shit box over the fox.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't hate it as much. I mean, it's not the starkest fox I've ever seen, but it's already this weird fucking like acid trip of visuals anyways, that the fact that it looks cartoony to me. It looks very much like a fox you'd see in like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I don't know why in this open quest of a video game of a movie anyways, like I'm down with it. Like I like the fox. I thought
This movie would not work as a video game.
yeah, no, it'd be the most boring. It'd be the most boring video game of all time. But do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like it's like a journey through a weird mystical land.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to compare it to a video game. That's King Arthur.
Oh, that'll be an art house video game for sure. It's like
This would be a boring fucking
More
video
like
game.
Shadow of the Colossus kind of.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
actually,
yeah. That's
Even then
yeah.
though, what are you doing in this version though? You're just like being a
find
bad
people's
person.
heads.
Yeah,
you
well,
just-
I like Shadow of the Colossus. You had these like different
Monoliths
beasts and
thing.
like monoliths.
Yeah,
and-
there's only one beast to defeat, and you defeated him immediately, and not really, and then later he kills you. So
I guess this one will almost be be like a survival game or like Daisy of
just,
Arthurian films.
You have to
like,
go throughout this land and
You
just
get into
not
one
fuck
fight
up.
and you get your ass kicked.
Yeah, it's like, you can choose like the white hat, black hat kind of thing. It's like
Yeah.
you cannot choose black hat or else you fail. Like
Yeah.
you have to do everything right, and it's just up to your own morality what
But-
that is.
But yeah, that's my whole reasoning. I don't know. I don't know. It didn't bother me, to be honest.
Yeah, it didn't bother me that much. It's just something that
Philip?
I was like, eh.
It sounds
It's
like you have
literally
an
my
interesting
one
take.
complaint, so I figured we should talk about it.
what about
wanna-
you, Jason?
I wanna hear-
I know you briefly chimed in. What do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that I think I said my piece. It didn't ruin the movie at all. It made like it was just like that doesn't look that great. And then that was the end of my thought process.
Philip, I want to hear your take because it
I-
sounds like you have something interesting.
I think one. Okay, what's it called? I think in terms of just like, like yeah, I agree. Like the movement did seem unnatural and everything, and then I'll get to why I think I'm actually think that works. But then like the visual effects, like fur textures, lighting, subscribe, all that stuff. Like it looks, and it was color temped to the scene and all that stuff. Weta, right? Like if we tried to do this, it'll look like Sammy the Bear.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
It will look worse. It looked like
Yeah.
Shouldn't have made him look like Paddington.
But there's yeah. Oh, Paddington, actually pretty great visual effects, but like
Paddington's great.
yes, fantastic. Fuck that one reviewer that brought Paddington down from 100 to 99%. Ugh, fucking piece of shit. Okay, so back to I discussed my hate for the guy who brought Paddington from 100 to 99%. Basically, I think one of the reasons why I think that the unnatural movement kind of works is because, like, foxes, in most Arthurian tales, there is some type of a spirit animal or spirit guide coming in, and in Celtic stories, foxes are usually Foxes are usually those guides for a lot of these stories. So immediately when I saw the fox, I was like, oh, okay, so it's not real. Like, and then the visual effects reminded me it wasn't real and it was unnatural. But I think whether or not the intent is that it was to make a natural movement, the unnatural movement I think helps sell the idea that this is spiritual and not real, and this is a conjuring of probably Morgana, and it talks, so it's probably not fucking real.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
I mean, it
it's
talks later.
definitely not a real fox.
Damn
Yeah.
it! I was going to be the super cultured one to bring up all of the lore behind the fox and everything. You stole that from me.
I'm sorry.
Well, I
It's
will
okay.
say that like it does vary from Celtic culture to later like Norman, like what's it called, like Christian culture, right? Because in there, foxes are considered like vermin. They're sly. They're tricksters. They're sometimes even considered like figures of the devil, right? I actually have on my background right now. I have a phone called I have a image. It's an old painting of it's called The Knight, Death and the Devil, right? And it shows like the knight riding in front of like where the death is and the devil is, and on his spear, the head of it is a fox's tail, and it's like to represent kind of like the knight like killing like these evil figures and stuff. So I think it's like it's very different. Again, there's like different interpretations, and it kind of shows like this poem. It's pulling from a lot of different things, so it's hard to say like what exactly they're interpreting it for. In this one, it seems very different, right? It's kind of like it seems like the fox is meant to be that kind of guiding spirit, and I think they are hearkening back more to that Celtic tradition. But I think in the original or the other poem, it's like it's different when we get to the hunts. It'll become important again. But yeah, Fernand, yeah. Well, I'll save that for later.
Oh yeah. So I mean, yeah. So and what's by the way, for audio only listeners, which is everybody. Yeah. So Ron just showed us a really badass picture of what he just described, and it was badass.
Would you like to describe it again?
Look it up. What's it called again?
It's called the Knight, the Devil, and Death. Or sorry, it's the Knight, Death, and the Devil. That's the image. I mean, maybe we'll throw it up on the YouTube page. We'll see at this moment.
post
Yeah.
it.
On Instagram or something.
Yeah.
Let's go. But yeah, my philosophy on visual effects is that like the whole point of it, it's like it's to like realistic or non-realistic. It's just meant to enhance the narrative, and not what's it called detract from it anyway.
Yes.
And in this case, I think like the kind of unnatural movements of the fox, and actually for me, I think it supplemented the look, because I think like I never bought that it was real, and I think it was purposely done so because Weta can make great visual effects and make it. I mean, fuck, Life of Pi came out 2012 or something, and it had the most fucking realistic tiger.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Watch the Planet of the Apes movies. I'd say from
Yeah, the
Dawn,
Planet of the Apes.
Dawn
Yeah.
and War of
Yeah.
the Planet of the Apes have some of the best looking visual effects I've ever seen. They're like
yeah, and but in
amazing.
that one,
Suck.
like you kind of needed realistic visual effects to sell, like
Yeah,
that there are lived
apes
and
on
breathed in the world.
horses. Yeah,
Yeah, what's it called? But yeah, but then the other visual effects, which we'll talk about the giant stuff in a bit. I think that one I thought, what's it called? That one was pretty interesting how they did it too. Like I was like looking at like the VFX forums and how they guessed and how they did it instead. They just shot, you know, like Dev Patel looking at like a vista with like maybe a potential guy holding a like a green screen or something replacement. And then they just shot but then this part is actual confirmed from the producers. They just shot a bunch of naked women just like walking across like the camera on a copper green screen. They comped it in. That's pretty good. That's like pretty much like Attack on Titan visual effects. Like, have you guys seen that movie? The
I've
Japanese
not.
live action
no,
movie.
you brought that up
No.
before.
Yeah,
I think.
and then it's like, oh, a terrible movie, but that one's interesting. They did the same thing. They had like naked people with like their dicks and everything. And then,
I think that's what naked means. Yeah.
yeah. What's it
Wait.
called?
They had dicks?
Yeah. Oh, actually, no.
How big were they?
Some. I know. I think the Titans in Attack on Titans. Some had their dicks comped out because the Titans don't have dicks in this that universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to this. But yeah, I think visual effects they ultimately enhanced it for me, and luckily most of it's practical. Yeah.
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 What's it called?
Everything looks great, which is
So-
probably why the Fox stood out so much to me.
Yeah.
But
Look like shit.
anyway.
This movie sucks.
Yeah, fuck this movie.
So after this, he goes to what's it called? You know, yeah, he encounters the giants. So we just talked about that recently, and of course, the thing he asked them is like, "Can you guys take me?"
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, which is just like, of course, like that was
Help.
a great way to highlight his character, which is like always trying to find the easy
Yeah.
way out.
Yeah.
And then
It's like he's coming across these gigantic, beautiful, mystical beasts. It's like this huge,
yeah,
like really
Literally forces of
awe-inspiring
nature.
moment. Yeah, and then he's just like, "Help me!
Yeah.
What can you do for me?"
And I like how the fox basically talks them out of murdering him, maybe.
Yeah.
Like they're like, "What the fuck?" And then the fox is like,
Wait,
Yeah.
he's cool. I think.
yeah, they're about to grab him, and he was like,
Speaks
and
whale.
you see him flinch, which is great foreshadowing for what he's gonna do later with the Green Knight, as if he's just like like his character is hesitant to accept either nature or death or fate or whatever like that. It's just great, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Dev Patel. But
Okay. So then the next thing, he goes to the castle.
yeah, next thing he goes to the castle. Yeah. And-
No, he eats a
Oh, he,
mush,
fuck. Yeah,
he gets high on shrooms,
he
man.
trips.
"Yeah,
for a bit.
it's there and gone fast though."
Yeah,
It's-
I thought he was gonna go like on a spiritual journey or something.
Yeah,
but then he
yeah.
doesn't.
I got really excited. I'm like, "Cool, what's gonna happen here?"
Yeah.
This movie's
Right.
already crazy as fuck.
His hand gets all like shimmery and it's kind of cool, and then he throws up.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. I think maybe it just shows that he's again a bad knight. Like he just doesn't know how to survive.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just like, I'm just gonna eat this, and then he just eats it. And he gives it to the fox too,
the
which
fox is like,
No, yeah. As I was watching it, I was like, okay, at least he has some like survival training. He knows what he's doing out here. He smells them, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna eat this. I'm like,
That's
yeah,
most
he's
of-
surviving, and then he's just like, oh fuck. Like,
That's most of this movie. After you realize like how terrible he is at everything, you start. There's a lot of moments where you go, "Oh well, at least he can do this," and every
then he
time he
fails.
fails. Yeah,
the fox. He knew what's up. He knew what's up.
the fox ate the shrooms like a champ.
Oh yeah.
he's like, I know what this is gonna do.
Alright, so once he meets the castle, he meets the Lord. They just call him the Lord in this one, not Bertolak, and the lady. And oh gosh, the lady in the blindfold, which is in the poem, it was revealed to be Morgana. In this case, it's probably the same thing too, because Morgana, as you mentioned earlier, had the blindfold on.
Yeah.
While she was doing the ritual. And in this version, basically, I think this version is a test of both chastity and fellowship.
yes.
So, what do you guys think? Because in the poem, this was actually pretty much the main meat of the poem.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
most of the poem was said in this. But in here, it's like about 5 to 10 minutes, or maybe 15 minutes.
I think it
No,
was
it's a
longer.
good
Than that.
chunk.
It was.
It's a
It was
good
like
chunk.
20 minutes at least. It felt like.
But
Yeah.
it was much smaller in comparison to the
Yeah,
poem.
it's
right?
not. Well, in
I
the
was-
poem, it's like his biggest failure. Here, it's just a fucking.
It's like the final nail.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
like the
coffin.
final. Yeah.
I will say that I was a little disappointed because I was kind of hoping to see the 3 hunts and like the 3 temptations, I guess, he gets from the lady, and like him, dealing with that or whatever. But they apparently did film that, but eventually did cut it out.
Yeah.
Because it was just too much, which I guess is fine. I think it works for the movie. Like overall, like I said, I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh man, I wanted to see all the cool shit that happens because the 3 hunts are very important to the narrative. But I think they took care of all of that, like all of basically what they're trying to say with everything else that was happening, that happened previous to this movie. So yeah, now he meets the Lord, played by Joel Edgerton, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Joel Edgerton.
Who's
Yeah.
awesome.
My boy.
Joel Edgerton is the best.
Yeah, he's great in everything.
Yeah,
He really is.
It's like Joel Edgerton. I think the first time I remember seeing Joel Edgerton was
Star Wars Episode 2.
what's it called? Yeah, okay, yeah, technically that one. But the first time I recognized like Joel Edgerton in a role because he was just
What's the one about the brothers that fight? Tom
Warrior.
Hardy's in it? Warrior.
Warrior. He
I
was
wonder
in
how-
Warrior.
That was a good movie. I like
Yeah.
that movie.
It was. Have you guys seen Animal Kingdom?
No.
Nope.
Once again, this
What
is
is
another-
it? Just go
Shut
on.
the fuck up.
Yeah, that was it. I think that's his movie where he wrote with David Michaud, the guy who directed The King, who Joel Edgerton's also in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they have this.
I haven't seen that either, Philip.
Oh gosh, it's breaking my heart every time.
I
you
started
say it.
watching The King and then I fell asleep.
Oh fuck.
But
yeah,
the one
that-
with Timothy
Chalamet.
and Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. Oh, he's fantastic. He's like hilarious in that film.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, like that was the first time where he had this like what's it called, pretty interesting performance, and that kind of like showed his like different shades of his character. He plays a morally ambiguous character, and also his writing abilities. He's actually like a very good screenwriter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like
Good director too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yes.
fucking
Oh, yes,
I
The
love the
Gift.
gift. I love the gift.
yeah.
We gotta talk about that eventually.
First thing I think I recognized him in was in Smokin' Aces. He plays like the right hand guy to
Oh yeah.
what the fuck's his name? I can't remember his name. Whatever. In Smokin' Aces, he plays like a character who like comes on a jacket and then he gets all pissed off and he's like, "Look, you came on my fucking jacket. What do you think this is?" He's like, "A little cinnamon roll." And he's like, "No." He's like, "That's cum and it's been marinating in there in the fucking fibers for like 8 hours." It's stupid, but like it's a very minor role, but it's just
Moving on.
yeah. Moving on.
You guys don't
Speaking
wanna,
of cum.
you guys don't want to come on Joel Edgerton for 2 hours straight.
I would, but
What's it called? Okay, so yeah, so
Dev Patel comes pretty soon in this.
yes. So basically, this is like very condensed version of that part of the things. Like you still kind of get the gist of that. So there's very steamy advances between the lady has towards Garwin, and where they discuss the paintings. They walk around the castle, and the main thing is where she gives him the green girdle, and she basically gives him a hand job. And he ejaculates.
And he
on-
makes a
on the
bunch of
green girdle.
cummies all over the girdle.
Immediately, she says afterwards, "You're no knight."
That was a great scene, and it managed to be as uncomfortable as it possibly could.
Yeah.
And, like this is Dev Patel too, just like really selling it. Where you really see this sense of he's like getting jerked off, and he's like still kind of like I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's not stopping it.
But he's
'cause
not.
yeah.
No,
Because
that's
he's
the point.
weak. Yes.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he is weak.
Yeah.
He's fucking communing with Joel Edgerton and getting all this crazy shit from the hunt, and at the same time, he's kind of stabbing him in the back, but feeling bad about it, but not having the strength to do anything about it.
And
Jerking off
hence-
by his wife.
Yeah, and hence the
Making big
failure.
fat cummies everywhere.
Oh my god.
Yes, and hence the failure of chastity, where what's it called? One of the virtues of night, and basically fucking your host's wife, or not fucking, but
That's
like
a big
having sexual
no-no
relations.
Yeah.
usually. Yeah.
and it's interesting too, and he does it over the green girdle, which is so like I think he's gonna wear it to protect him everywhere. I can imagine, like I wonder if he's walking, he's wondering, it's like, yeah, my cub's on there, it's gonna
Yeah,
protect me.
just all over his stomach.
It's like dry and like crusty. He's like, oh man.
That's how it
It's like-
stayed on all those years.
God, is he like a neckbeard? He just comes all over himself.
Yeah. Oh, and then one of the big things is the Lord tells Garwin, "Okay, I'll give you whatever the best thing from my hunt, but in return, you must give me whatever transpires in this castle." And
whatever
you receive.
Yeah.
You have to
Exactly.
give back.
and
And
I was waiting for him to give him a hand job.
yeah, it was.
for a second I was like, how far is this gonna go here? Because there kind of was that sexual tension between Sir Gawain and
The Lord.
the Lord. I was like, he does seem like he's maybe trying to like come on to him, maybe.
They
Like-
kiss.
Yeah, he does.
Yes.
Yeah. Which
Somewhat
again,
steamy.
Yeah. Which straight from the poem where he like each day like the Lord goes out and he captures and he hunts a different animal. Each one is very symbolic and like reminiscent of like the culture at the time. Like he hunts a stag the first day, which is a very noble beast, and at the same time the lady is she's making moves on Sir Gawain, but like in not exactly a noble way, because like in the poem he's naked in bed because that's just how you slept back then, and she sneaks in and he like pretends to be asleep. He's like, oh no, like don't like like I don't want to have to deal with this situation. And then she immediately starts like kind of messing with him. Like she even like makes fun of his accent. She calls him like Gawain or something like that, like you know, the Welshness of it. And he's eventually able to like basically just like get her to go away, but with a kiss. And then he gives that kiss in kind to the Lord. And he's like, where'd you get that from? And he's like, you didn't say where I had to get it. I had to tell you where I got it from. I got it. That's it. And he's like, okay, whatever. Like he just kind of runs it off.
But yeah, the big difference in the like the poem, like what do you think the difference says about this interpretation? Because in the poem he does honor for the most part, except the green girdle part.
Yeah.
But and also he does reject the advances. There's no hand jobs in
No.
the original poem.
Yeah, all three hunts, like again, she comes at him at different times. Like the second time, it's the boar, and the boar is another kind of noble beast to hunt. It's different because it's dangerous. It's way aggressive. It attacks you, and in that one, it describes like in great detail, like the hunt where the Lord is like has this. He kills it with his sword, and it's like this whole big thing, and it's like really, it's like probably the only real like action sequence in the whole poem. And then finally, the last one is the fox, where she's very sneaky about it, right? And foxes are, again, very sneaky and clever. And that's when she gives him the girdle, and he also gets a kiss. And then that's where she kind of does him in, and then he also gives up because he fails because he doesn't give it up.
She also like begs. I remember she begs Gawain to like not tell the husband, right, about the gift. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, I know.
That's his only real failure in the
poem.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one is just mountains.
Yeah.
Mountains. It's and I think like Dev Patel, like speaking of Dev Patel, like performance, I think great, like emotional vulnerability, and his like his he's able to show the weakness of his character. It's very easily on his like face, like trembling every other second. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And okay, so what do you guys think about the lady's monologue regarding colors? Because I think that was a pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of them just telling you basically the whole theme of the movie about just what does she say? I wish I should have written this down so I could have read it. But she's more or less just saying that like dishonorable turns green. Was that what it was?
Well, I think basically it was like, you know, they're talking about red and blue and everything like that, but green overtakes all the other colors, right? Regardless of what happens, green will be the last thing that will be remembered because the like basic nature will take over.
Yeah, it's
and
the earth. It comes from the earth.
What's it called? Great. Like once again, this is what. I mean, usually, yes, I'm against Warner Brothers' whole HBO Max and what's it called theater at the same time. But this is one of the times where I'm like, oh, I kind of wish like this was like released digitally so I could just watch that scene.
Yeah, I remember that. I really wanted to see that monologue scene again.
Yeah, I was really trying to find a time to go watch it again in the theater. I would love to, but like I just couldn't. Like it was hard.
Yeah, I watched it twice, but my memory's shit, so I don't remember much of that monologue.
That Showtime, it's sad too. Please, people watch it. The Showtimes are disappearing. And if you guys can't watch it in theaters, buy the Blu-ray like 3 times.
So look what happened to fucking Suicide Squad. I mean, we'll talk about that with our next episode. But like, fuck, no one watched that movie. Yes. Go watch it. Watch the movie.
Good.
Yeah.
Did nobody watch Suicide Squad?
Oh yeah, we'll talk
about it.
We'll talk about it in the next episode.
Next week.
So okay. So and then,
but talking about the colors though, right? And like talking about nature again in this time frame,
inevitability
in this history. Yeah, like at this point, nature is not often viewed necessarily as a good thing. It's not bad necessarily either, but it's a force in itself, right? It's this thing that exists, and it's wild, it's untamed. This is what happens when civilization goes away. It goes back to nature,
and that's like shown in The Green Knight. Like even like his axe, when he sets it down, it starts like producing moss.
And then when he goes to the Green Chapel, like it's not even just the regular green, like bright green. It's kind of like there's a yellow hue to the green too, and it's kind of like this dirty, muddy version of it, and I like that. That's great.
It's like again, like rot, decay. It's again not necessarily bad things, but it's just is, you know.
It is inevitable.
Marvel films, you could use color to tell stories. It's okay to use colors.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and Zack Snyder, you too. I'm just kidding.
Oh god, could you imagine if Zack Snyder had directed this?
To be honest,
Dev Patel would
it
have
would
been on
probably
a
been-
fucking cross.
You'd be on
I'll be
like
honest,
a
I would
fucking
watch it.
dragon.
I would watch it.
Visually, it would have been fucking awesome.
I
thematically-
don't want that visual version of the story. I think that the visual style that David Lory brought to this specific film was absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
It's not.
I agree.
It's
Yeah.
not as Zack Snyder's like the glorified Michael Bay, except for way better. Like he's just like this bright and colorful and obnoxious and obvious, which I'm not saying is bad. The one thing I do like about Zack Snyder is his visuals. This is every shot looks like a painting to me,
Oh,
but
no, I
in a
think-
very
yeah.
classical way.
Oddly enough, I think David Lowery is a better, especially after Army of the Dead. He's a better visual artist than Zack Snyder, and he does it more creatively with the small ass budget. This is Zack Snyder. This Green Knight film will be $150 million, and then what's called the Green Knight will mutate into 3 different forms. It'll look like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle villain.
This isn't even my final form. As he peels off his bark to reveal his metal and everything.
The Green Knight, the last line of the movie, instead of what it was, would be, "Do you bleed?"
Oh god, will. You know what? I want to see it. Like 10 years after this film comes out.
Zack Snyder would have fucked that ending up.
Oh, yeah, and then I would just. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. So finally, he does get to the chapel, and but before that, the fox speaks, which is basically his mom, pretty much like.
Yeah. What does the fox say? I don't even remember.
The fox says something like, basically death awaits you. Like,
Yeah,
go away, just go home.
warning.
become
She's
the
telling
boy.
him like, just don't go, just go home. Is it? She says, "Come home."
Oh,
Come home.
I
Yeah.
thought it said like nee 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 nee. nee.
What does the fox say?
Okay. I'm sorry I did that.
Oh yeah, you totally got me there.
What's it called? Yeah, and that was interesting. And then and then he throws rocks, right? He
Yeah.
throws rocks. He's like,
I
I
just
never.
to strike it. That fucking asshole.
I
dude.
know.
That's your mom.
I was what a
It's the only
dick.
thing but like helping him this whole fucking time.
Yeah, and that's his fourth failure, which is what's it called? The
Real
fellowship.
scene of integrity for that character too. The fact that this thing that has been his guardian the whole trip, the second it tells him something he doesn't want to hear, he tries to kill it. A small, helpless animal.
It's the
Yeah.
one thing he could potentially kill in the whole movie
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
He was probably just like, I gotta fucking do something. Like,
It's like very different from the poem too, because the fox it's given to him by the Lord in the poem, but then it just kind of is. It's around, but they don't talk about it or
No.
bring it up ever again.
It's not as important as it is in here.
Yeah,
No,
in,
no.
in the movie, it's a very like. There's a lot of the fox in the movie, and I like it. I like the fox guardian
Cool.
thing.
I like foxes.
Yeah, and so he mentions he does go to the Green Chapel. Great production design. What's it called? The vines, the flowers.
Oh, it
the
looks
mist and
phenomenal.
The hue.
Especially that shot of Dev Patel just standing there, like framed in by like the nature everywhere
Yes.
around him,
Yes.
with like the
Yes.
yellow behind him. Awesome.
yeah.
What's it called? It's like everything Debbie Lowery learned from all his other films. Even like some stuff from Pete's Dragon. I see like sprinkled into here.
That's why there's a furry dragon in the background. I'm kidding.
Also, the dragon was green as fuck in that film.
Yeah.
What's it called? Like I said, I commend him for this whole scene. This is like better than I could have even imagined. Like how somebody would bring the Green Chapel to the live action. And yeah, so he meets the Green Knight. The Green Knight's like awakes. He says, "Oh, you actually
Well,
came."
also he doesn't just meet him; he has to like wait out the remaining hours until
Right,
their
right,
deal
exactly.
begins, which I think is really important for his character. He's already just like, oh fuck, man,
Yeah.
I have no idea what's coming next, and he has to just. I love that scene of him just placing the axe in front of the Green Knight and just sitting down and being like,
He waits a day.
yeah, he waits a day.
Yeah. Which is like one of the few like really good things he does, I think, or at least honorable things. He just has to wait and he's just stew in his.
Surprised he
like,
didn't start like knocking on the Green Knight's head and being like, hey.
Where he's like, wait, shit, maybe I can kill it first. And no, but he does. He waits.
What's it called? So so in this one, it's kind of a mix of everything is honor, test of honor and stuff, and piety, which is like kind of religious devotion. Which is it's like there's no direct test on that. But yeah, so in this one, once the Green Knight does open, he says like, you actually did come, and he's about to finish the game.
No, what I love is he's like, "Is it Christmas already?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude." Like,
Oh god, because like for him, right? It's like time just passes by. Like
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
We presume. Yeah, we
He's
don't
like
really know.
he's like an entity of some sort.
Yeah, he's Morgana. I'm just kidding. No,
yeah,
it's something
everyone's
different,
Morgana.
but- Yeah. What's it called? Oh gosh.
lady who jerked him off.
Or definitely she was there.
Yeah, she was there.
Morgana's watching.
She was watching. Yeah.
Yeah, she was watching, which is great. Just
Yeah,
mom,
Sir Garwin probably
It's
liked
great.
that.
mom was like always wondering like, how does my son ejaculate? I'm like, I don't know why she has watched it, but okay, good for her.
She's a fucking weirdo.
So he, the first two swings that the Green Knight does, Garwin flinches, which I liked. That was like, directly from the poem.
Yeah.
But on the
Takes a
third,
swing at him, and then he's like, flinches.
Oh,
and
it's
he's
so
like,
pathetic,
I'm
too.
sorry. Like, I thought you were supposed to be like this honorable knight and this whole thing. And then he swings again, and then he flinches again, and then he's like, oh, again? Like, you're supposed to be like this big, brave Knights of the Round Table. I guess you guys are not that brave. And then he just yells at the Green Knight. He's like, will you just fucking do it? Like, just swing at me. Like, just do it. Like, right? Just get it over with. And
It's so pathetic too, the way he's just like, no, please, wait.
and then the third time, he's just like, no, I just can't do it, and he flees back to Camelot.
And he gets his horse arrives magically.
Yeah.
The best line in the movie though is, "Then I shall get to hacking," and I was just like,
Oh,
"Yes,
yeah.
dude,
Yes, I'll do that guy's voice. I just want him.
perfect." I didn't do it justice there.
I just wanted to voice everything. Like, it's I could just eat cheese off like my nipples, just like listening to it. Robin is just like hack you. Oh yeah, it's so
The
good.
next 15 minutes are probably the best part of the movie and probably what make it elevated. I think that it would be a very good movie. I think this is what turns it into a great experience.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Philip, you want to explain?
Oh yeah. Okay. No. What's going on? So basically, this is, as Blake was mentioning before, this is the biggest deviation from the poem.
Yes.
Essentially, like, so he goes back to we get essentially a flash forward. By the way, spoiler alert. This whole thing was spoiler.
Yeah.
But this is a flash forward where he goes to the back to Camelot, and we basically see what his life would have been if he never completed the game, and most likely he probably just lied to everybody about what.
Yeah, I think so. Because he wakes up poor 98-year-old King Arthur to knight him because he can't fucking wait until the morning. But yeah, it's like what would happen if he just continued to live and commit the same sins over and over again and be the same kind of person and look for the same shortcuts.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Camelot just like eventually
Fucking gets destroyed.
Yeah, it's
comes
based-
to ruin.
He fucks over what's his girlfriend's
Essel.
name? Essel. He fucks over Essel. She has his child and
He just takes her
takes
leaves
the,
coins.
and
As if
and
there's a
tosses
source.
a
and
coin
pays
at her.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God.
And then he instead marries a noble woman. What's it called? And then that same son from Essel dies.
Yeah.
During the
Dies in battle.
And then
He comes back from battle and people are throwing like literal
he becomes a
shit at
reviled
him.
king,
Like
yeah.
they hate him.
Essel makes eye contact with him.
Yeah. That was brutal.
And then when Camelot's under siege, like Camelot's
He
under
lets
siege.
Camelot fall. Like
Yeah.
Everybody abandons him, even his mom. At the end, you know what I mean?
All that he has left in the end is like 3 guards that are just desperately trying to keep the door from being busted open.
And then he takes off his girdle. And then once he takes off his girdle, the one that's supposed to give him magic protection from all harm, his head falls off. And then I remember watching it, I was like, wow, okay, that's bold.
if it ended right
Yeah,
there,
really quick
great
question.
movie.
Really quick
Great
question.
movie.
Once he flees the Green Knight, did you think this was actually happening? Because I thought
did.
my first thought was, wow, they're really just throwing the rest of this story out the window. But holy fucking shit, is this actually kind of genius? And that scene where King Arthur is knighting him, I was actually like, this piece of shit does not deserve this. And then like he's becoming king, and I'm like, wow, this piece of shit.
Yeah, no, I thought that it could actually be happening because like a lot of the subversions going on beforehand, like the differences like departure. I thought maybe this is just where it's headed, and I was getting pretty satisfied with it. The montage of him, just his whole life and the kingdom coming to ruin. you know?
I was kind of leaning towards, no, it's probably like, because I think I mentioned to you guys Last Temptation of Christ. You guys all like...
Yes, it's very, very similar to the ending of Last Temptation of Christ.
Yeah, like in that one where William Dafoe's Jesus Christ. You guys. Oh, you guys are smiling. I'll for audio only listeners, it's all of you.
It's a good movie.
Dude, I'll admit I totally forgot to watch that. I don't remember what I was doing, but it totally slipped my mind.
So basically in that one, it's like literally like moments before he dies, he just well, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but it was or seen the ending, but it was
He imagines
He
living
imagines-
out a normal life.
normal life.
Jesus,
without-
no.
Yeah, and then, but then but he gets back to it and says it's done, and it's over. Like it goes back to the moment where he's on the cross. And this one's very similar to that case. So I thought, okay, so I know he's a huge Scorsese fan. That's like one of his favorite American filmmakers. So I thought, oh, is it gonna be like that? And at the end, I was like, oh shit. And then the other reason is because in the opening shot of the film, it's Dave Patel with the crown, and his head goes on fire, and you have a voiceover
Yeah.
from Ralph
Yeah.
Ineson. And then it was like,
Fucking sick opening. We didn't even talk
Yes.
about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
and I think like that way it kind of framed as like a cautionary tale, like based on like his opening statements from Ralph Ineson. So I imagine like it'd be what's it called? It would be, I think like if it would probably be more effective as a cautionary tale if they went back, and it's just like basically cautionary tale for Garwin what not to do.
Well,
like,
it
because
still might be.
yeah. And because like this is what happens if you use the light without honor, without the virtues of knighthood. If you failed everything. Like literally, his mom is like begging him at the last. Like who knows? Maybe the mom conjured a flash forward to him at that moment, right? And also, I would not think that the mom would, like she wouldn't go through all this effort for her son to fail everything. She'd be like, well, fuck, I really do have to fuck Arthur again and then make another kid.
She's run out of time. Dude's getting old.
Yeah. What's it called? So yeah, and then so we find out that it's a flash forward, and he gets back. He's back at the Green Chapel. He removes his green girdle and finally says, "I'm ready." And the Green Knight congratulates him. And then, do you want to do the honors, Jason? Do you want to say it?
I want to.
Or do you want to say
Okay.
it?
Oh man, dude,
say it.
his impersonation is going to be much better.
No, do it.
Oh, both.
You know what? I'm not
So,
going to do impersonation. I'm going to do it in my own voice.
Yeah, do your own interpretation.
Now, off with your head. Cut to credits. I was coming in my pants. I was like, yeah. That and I think three rows ahead of me, I saw some couple just shaking their heads, being like, "What the fuck was that?" I gotta be honest. What a fucking way to end the movie. And of course, that is a very ambiguous way to end the movie. And thoughts?
Yeah. What do you guys think? Do you guys think the Green Knight?
Can I?
Oh,
Sorry.
Don't ask a question, then answer it for yourself.
I'm sorry. This is
Exactly.
what I was most excited to talk about. Because honestly, I don't fucking know. Because I've had both people, I've been talking with all my friends about it. Everyone is giving a good point. Because on one end, it could be faithful to the novel, where maybe he is just going to let him off easy and this will be a huge learning lesson for Dev Patel, and he'll ride on home and live the rest of his life as an honorable knight. Or maybe on this take, he really did just fuck everything up and he's gonna die for it. So it's hard. It's hard to say either way. I like to think that he lives, but I actually do think I might lean towards the other way. I think that the knight might just behead him.
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did ultimately behead him because he had failed at every point. And at the final moment where he's just like, all right, fine, cool. You kind of saved your honor a bit here at the end. And that's great. But
I'm gonna kill you.
yeah, you're still going to die. Because, now you're going to die for sure because you still fucked everything up and, time's up.
I read it as though, he takes off the sash, right? So he's giving in. He's not going to accept that life that he just saw. And he doesn't want to be that guy. So in a way, I think it's probably the most honorable thing he could do in that moment. Because if he becomes king, Camelot falls. If he becomes king, everyone's life turns to shit. So he's just like, all right, fuck it. Maybe I'm not cut out for this life. Just end it.
That's an interesting interpretation.
Him dying
I
honorably
like that.
could be interpreted as a happy ending in a way.
Kind of like
Yeah, it's him coming to terms with his
Failures.
mediocrity.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's I'm just not a knight.
Yeah.
I set out to do just something I just couldn't. And this is me just accepting it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what's called.
But also, he does complete his quest, right?
Yeah.
If he gets
Yeah.
beheaded, he wins.
He completes his quest, but along the way, he basically discovers a lot about himself, and he has this ideal version of himself. His ideal version of himself is him leaving Camelot in the beginning, trying to look all badass in front of the kids, but his real self is this terrified little wimp that's trying to run away from something he signed up for.
Yeah.
No, I agree with a lot of the points where you guys made, where particularly with with Jason when he says he doesn't want the life that was in the flash forward. possibly conjured by Morgana, and and basically removes the protection. Right, he's just accepting whatever nature is going to give to him. Did you guys watch the post-credit scene?
There's a post-credit
I
scene?
read about it because I didn't expect there to. Yeah, the fox walks up to Dev Patel, who lived, and says, "Son, I'm here to talk to you about the Knights of the Round Table Initiative."
No, that's not.
That's not. But I did read about it.
What,
Okay,
wait, what
so
was it?
so it's a young girl. She finds the king's crown and puts it on her head.
She finds the what?
The crown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the crown, puts it on her head.
Huh.
Yeah. All right. So because of that post-credit scene, and because we're all talking about Morgana's, just what's it called, her basically orchestrating this entire quest. One, I don't think she wants her son to die, because if she did, she could have had him die like a long time ago.
Uh-huh.
And so no, I think it's pretty, at least at least for me, based on what the plot they set up, and because if he did die, I think problematically it kind of fucks with the motivations of her mom and the whole characters, because look, the Green Knight is conjuring a Morgana, right?
Possibly, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's pretty obvious. It's like
No. I mean, I'm saying with it fucking with her, the Morgana's motivations and everything.
Yeah,
like-
because like the entire time, what's it called? Like she doesn't. This whole point is to test her, to make her son into the more honorable knight that she wants him to be. But even if she is more honorable, what's the point if he's dead?
Yeah,
I mean,
no, that's true.
Yeah.
But
And also-
also, if he failed at every single point,
Yeah.
No, Morgana.
Well,
because
like-
I actually this
Which is probably why at the end she's just like, "Oh, my son's not cut out for this.
Yeah,
Like, I'm gonna
fuck
stop
it."
him from doing this."
because also I have to disagree with your point that Morgana is the one who gave him the vision. To
Well, I say it's possible.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, but to me that would take away the only bit of character growth the character gets. Like I really do see that as him just seeing it all hitting him at once, and him just taking in this incredible failure of a life that he's lived.
Yeah.
And
And that reinforces what Jason's saying. Yeah, she might just be like, "Fuck it,
Yeah.
off with this fucking head."
Well, I think.
no,
what's-
I was talking about when the fox like tries to stop him. Like, maybe she realized her son is not cut out for this, and is just like, "I'm just gonna tell him to come home because he's clearly failing everything."
Oh,
yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, because like he doesn't want her son to die. Because also Morgana's a conniving little bitch, and she then she wants the throne. She always wants something, right?
Yeah.
Like something to hold on top. So if her son's on the king, that'd be great. Even if the son's a failure, look, she like in some cases like Mordred or whatever, she tried to get that. Like there's a whole thing on Arthurian lore about Mordred and attempting her versus Arthur battle. So no, I think that would if she did die through the Green Knight who was conjured by Morgana, I think that would kind of break that character in terms of like her motivation, which is to have her son live and become a more honorable person. And two, I think also based on the post-credit scene, the young girl putting the crown on the head, I think it was implied that could possibly be like what's called Garwin's kid or descendant.
Okay.
Yeah. It's that's the implication there, right? So I mean, unless like Essel's like already knocked up before she left, then I'm
Well,
assuming.
On the alternative side, and this is the one thing I wish I didn't read because I hate when directors do this. David Lowery did confirm that he left it ambiguous because he wanted it to end that way, but in his mind, he was like, he's probably dead. Yeah, which I don't like, by the way. I hate when directors do that. Just leave it open. You know who did it the best? I don't want to go on a huge side tangent. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, fucking like 15 years after Mysterious Skin came out, they asked, what do you think the last scene interprets that? And he says, I'm not going to tell you because you'll just think what I think.
Yeah. David Lynch does that as well. He
Yeah.
doesn't say
Say
shit.
shit.
Yeah.
Same thing for Stanley Kubrick. He didn't like say too much about 2001: Space Odyssey.
He did come out. There is a recording of him
Oh,
saying...
well, I mean, like not official, like.
But he was like a little annoyed. He's just like, everyone wants to fucking know, and he like explained it.
You know who else does that really well? Neil Breen. He never explains what his movies are meant to be.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that X-Men Origins was left open.
Yeah. Well, David Lowery, I'm here to disagree with you. Even though you're the director of this film, if he died, I think that would just kind of be inconsistent. At least, what's called my perspective.
I didn't know that. I think he died.
Yeah,
I think he
me too.
died, and I think
It's a happy ending in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it works best because that is the only good thing he does in the whole movie.
Yeah.
is preventing himself from ruining everything.
No, I disagree with that because, like, look, if this is a trial by his mom, right? Like, and the whole point is for her son to grow up, right? One, she'd be a terrible ass mom, and I don't think they said. Well, then again, to be honest,
Maybe.
a
She
mom
is.
using
Morgana.
a mom using green and stuff like that. But at least, like, from what I understand, Arthur and Laura, she was never like in the business of killing her kids. And also in the poem, like, it was on in the poem, right? It was like his mom was Morgause in the poem, I think. And that was also just like a test with this, unless this is like I said, they're going really revisionist. Yeah, and because I think it would just make more sense if he learned at least something, right? And he comes back, and from what he learned, like Morgana possibly will guide him into becoming like a better knight. Like, this was a starting off point.
Well,
Yeah.
if we're saying off like the original poem too, he still technically does fail, right?
Yeah.
Because he does keep the sash, and he's forced to wear the sash from then on.
Yeah.
And there's like sometimes it's interpreted differently, but the end when he comes back to Camelot and all the other knights wear a sash to honor him, to be like, yeah, this is in remembrance of Sir Gawain being awesome, and like going to honor the Green Knight and stuff. It's usually sometimes maybe their misinterpretation of it, because Sir Gawain wears the sash as like
a failure.
as a shame and failure, and the knights are sharing in that, but to them they're like, hey, it's for the opposite reason. So it could be that he does come back in shame and in failure, but I don't know. I like him getting his head cut off.
It's
That's
open.
what's great about this.
It's open.
Yeah.
I think we
I do-
all have very slightly different interpretations,
I
which
see
is
I see
a sign
the
of
whole
a good
movie
movie.
as just this allegory for facing failure and just making the wrong calls, but also being forced to inevitably always have to face that. And I think in that vein, it's perfect.
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of times ambiguous endings, they can sometimes be, like they're kind of hit or miss, where it's like, oh God, just say something. Like Inception, I've gone back and forth, like the ending where it's like, is he still in a dream? It's like, he's not in a fucking dream. Like, it's fine. Like, he's not asleep.
Christopher Nolan did
But
that
is
so
he?
people would talk about it for 2 summers in a row.
Yeah, and that kind of bugged me.
Inception.
Where it's like, it would be really
Soon.
dumb if he's still in the dream. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know. But then at the same time, it's like, oh, well, just leave it. People still talk about it.
We're not.
I know, we're not going to go into
We're not
Inception.
having
We're
this.
talking
we're
about this
talking
in a
about
couple
the
weeks. In a couple
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah,
I'm
all
very
right.
excited.
So,
very
okay.
excited.
What's it called? So overall, let's just kind of wrap this up. What are you guys' final thoughts and opinion? Let's start off with you, Blake.
I mean, fuck, it's great on almost every fundamental level, in terms of visuals, in terms of sound design, in terms of editing, in terms of acting. It's as perfect as a film can be, in my opinion. I also really like real allegorical filmmaking like this, as you guys know. I can't say it's in the museum just yet, just because I've only seen it once and I need to let it breathe a little bit, but it's certainly on the shelf and en route to the museum. I want to watch it like at least 2 more times before being able to say that. But I mean, fuck, everyone just go and see it. It's great.
Yeah, I would say echo a lot of Blake's thoughts. I think the visuals are fantastic. The themes are there. The acting performances are all great. For me, I'd say I'd put it in a museum. As far as like Arthurian adaptations go, this is like easily the best that I've ever seen. It felt like it was authentic in all the ways that mattered, and it like expanded and modernized the telling in a way that I think just like was perfect. So yeah, I'll put it in a museum.
Yeah, I agree with all of those sentiments. I'm not sure if I would put it in the museum quite yet. I'm always wary about doing that for a movie that I've only seen once or twice. Like, if I love a movie, I'm going to keep coming back to it. And if I keep coming back to this one, I'm sure eventually it will end up in the museum. I did put A Man Escaped in the museum, though.
Wait, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember.
Because I fucking love that movie.
Yeah.
That movie, like, I
That was
fucking
great.
love that movie.
Yes.
But this one, I think it's going to require a little more thought to be put into it, and a little more dissection from me personally. But yeah, on the shelf for sure. I do not buy media, like physical media. I might actually buy this movie.
Yeah.
I hope it gets the.
It'll be the only one on my shelf.
I hope it gets the A24 did a really cool fucking release for Midsummer. I hope it gets that kind of
Yeah.
attention.
4K.
I want that.
4K.
Oh yeah.
4K.
Oh, I'd love to see it in 4K.
And Miles was saying a potential extended cut.
Oh,
I'd be
yeah.
down.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I would like to see just to see the differences. For me, so overall, we didn't even talk about. I also thought it was a good creative choice that Essel and the lady were played by Alicia Vikander.
Yeah, we didn't even
yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah. By the way, like good way, like just like simple visual things like that. David Lowery, hard close to attention. What's it called? David Lowery. What's it called? Like I said, I'll give two ratings, and I'll say this one in
This
red.
is the second time today you've
Okay.
given 2 ratings, Philip.
All right, if David Lowery, what's it called? By the way, you should have just shut the fuck up and not offer your opinion on the thing. I hate that. What's it called? I love you and your weird handlebar mustache. You shaved it off. That's another reason why I hate you now. I'm just kidding.
I
love
thought
you,
he
man.
just bald.
Yeah, no,
everywhere.
he has like
I think it would have been better if
If he had a mustache.
John Krasinski.
I already
directed
made
it.
that joke.
Yes. What's it called? Okay,
Yeah,
so
earlier today. I'm sorry.
okay, so all right, so if he says it, at least for me and my understanding, and Morgana does fuck over some of her kids, but
Also, I read that on
relatives.
Reddit, so definitely don't take that as gospel.
Oh, okay. David Lowery, I'm sorry then.
Hey, it could be true. I read
Don't
it.
trust Reddit, Blake.
No, it's called. I'll say this: if his head did get cut off, at least from what's it called? My understanding of the poem, and
Philip,
and
David
what's it
Lowery's
called?
not
And
listening to
and
this.
I'm also like kind of like I'm a little bit of a stickler when it comes to Arthurian stuff, and everything they set up in this film, and the take it would be on the shelf, but especially also considering the post credit scene. If his head stays on and he does come back and it doesn't break character at all, no consistencies on the museum, 100%. 4K Blu-rays tattooed on my chest, the giant axe, all that stuff. Even on my back, it'll have like the fox like taking a shit on like Sir Gawain's face.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
So yeah, I really liked The Green Knight. I thought it was a fantastic film. I thought that it was very interesting, especially cinematically. Personally, I didn't really connect with the story too much, but it is what it is. I thought it was one of the most beautiful films that I've seen in a long, long time. It was shot amazingly. Every shot looked like a painting, and that's something that you want to see in films, at least in my opinion. But at the end of the day, I would probably put it on the shelf, but it has a chance to go into the museum. I really am looking forward to if they release an extended cut, because I know that there was originally an extended cut planned of this. I would definitely buy that and watch it, and it might move up into the museum after that.
All right.
Well, there you have it.
That was an Arthurian fuckfest. I guess if another one comes out, we'll do 3 more.
Nah, no, let's not.
I would
This
be
was a
down.
lot.
I would be down for a sequel to the Arthurian lore portrayed on film. I mean,
We'll do.
I got to be honest. Excalibur was like being punched in the face over and over and over again. But
oh yeah. I mean, if there's Excalibur like in a like HBO Max series or something like that, only HBO, not Netflix.
I'd be down to do a sequel to the Arthurian lore. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll do Sword in the Stone.
I would like
times.
to talk about
would
Sword
be-
in
Oh
the
yeah, if
Stone.
there's another.
Oh, yeah,
if
the
there's
kid will
another.
be king.
If there's another good
And
Arthurian film or series out.
Monty
Maybe-
Python. Let's see that.
maybe-
Yeah,
Yeah,
Monty
maybe-
Python, Clive Owen's King
Oh,
Arthur.
okay,
Oh,
like,
God.
Maybe Guy Ritchie will make a comeback with King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword.
I would like to
2.
see that.
I fucking love
Which, by the way, that's a movie, man. Watch it, even if it's not good.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a terrible film, but I love. It's
Yeah,
it's
that's kind of how.
It's not even.
I wouldn't
killed-
call it terrible.
Yeah, it's like I think the script is terrible, but in terms of actually, you don't know. It's
The script, no, the script is absolutely terrible. It's
Yeah.
not. It's like I said, it's a successful failure.
Yeah.
Kung Fu George.
Kung Fu film called Kung Fu George. Oh gosh, at least make a video game out of it, please.
All right, well, let's wrap
Okay,
this
okay,
up.
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned for our next episode.
Go watch
Suicide
all these movies
Squad.
except for Excalibur.
Go watch Excalibur too, just for
Yeah, you can
for
watch
film
it.
history.
At your own risk. Like,
If you like it, you like it. If you hate it,
Make a day of it.
All right, and that's a wrap.
I love you.
Bye.